Thank you, everyone. Could I have a mover and a seconder for the approval of today's regular council meeting? Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Demarche. Any questions on said agenda? Seeing none, be it resolved that the agenda for the August 12th, 2025 regular council meeting be approved as presented. All in favor? Thank you. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. Could I have a mover and a seconder for the adoption of the July 15th, 2025 regular council meeting? Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Thank you, Councillor Fleeler. Any questions on said minutes? Seeing none, be it resolved that the minutes of the July 15th, 2025 regular council meeting be adopted as presented. All in favor? Thank you. Notice of a closed meeting. We will be holding a closed meeting later in our today's agenda. Council will hold a closed meeting during the regular council meeting pursuant to Section 2392 of the Municipal Act 2001 SO 2001 C25 as amended to consider the following matters. B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, and D, labor relations or employee negotiations. Move on to my mayor's remarks. I'm sorry, my mayor's remarks are quite long today because an awful lot's been happening within our community. First of all, I'd like to begin by congratulating Aniko Ferenvesi on your Cube Cafe's first anniversary. Also, congratulations to COPE on the celebration of your 50th anniversary. And thank you, MPP Brise, for your recent equipment funding announcement of $42,607 for Moira Place. I'm also thrilled to report that we have a new Ministry of Rural Affairs representative. Lori Cowett replaces longtime friend and supporter Karen Fisher. She will be joining us this fall for a formal introduction. I've included Lori's business card and information in my mayor's remarks. Congratulations to our own Trevor Provo and the Public Works team. I received the following from Greg Gaylord after a major water pipe break. It ended up being a pretty large job, and I really have to commend Trevor Provo. He has been incredible to work with, and it's obviously he truly cares and takes pride in helping residents. Every new issue that arose, he was there to work out a solution. He never once complained and continually apologized, even though he was doing everything in his power, including rooting around in our nasty crawl space. Also, congratulations to our economic development guru, Cindy Chow, for stick handling the intricacies of a major Grapevine magazine tourist promotion collaboration focusing on inclusion and cultural diversity, which was made possible by our successful FedDev application. Also, thank you to Sandra Johnson for acknowledging Cindy Chow's contribution to this campaign. It was just brought to my attention that there was a motorcycle fatality on Flinton Road on Sunday. We are reaching out to the OPP for more details. Our condolences to all impacted by this tragedy. On July 16th, I attended the Central Hastings Support Network Transit meeting. I am pleased to report that our transit program is back on being financially stable. Thank you, Victoria Treverton, for getting us back on track, and thank you to MPP Breezy for the annual financial support from the provincial government. On the 17th, I attended a Kiwanis meeting. On the 21st, I was a guest on the Lauren Brooker Show. On the 23rd, I attended the Food for All Committee. On the 25th, I joined fellow mayors DeLine and O'Neill at the COPE 50th anniversary celebration. I presented a certificate on behalf of the municipality with the following acknowledgement. Congratulations, COPE, on your 50th anniversary. Thank you for your commitment to those with different abilities to identify and build on their strengths. Everyone wants to feel valued, to be recognized for their gifts and talents, and believe that their contributions to society mean something. COPE, you make that happen, and for that we are forever grateful. Attending the COPE celebration was Provincial Minister Michael Parsa, Minister of Children, Community and Social Services. I never missed the opportunity to speak to a minister when given the chance. I talked about food insecurity in our schools and how grateful we are for the breakfast and lunch programs. He noted that there would soon be an announcement detailing increased funds for school food programs. I thanked him for his commitment to ensuring that youth at school have access to food, an essential social determinant of success. I then flagged our Food for All program, which focuses on youth and community when the school year finishes, and the need for these students to have access to good food year-round. He paused, handed me his card, noting, "Let's continue this discussion," and we will. On the 28th, I was joined by Councillors Fleeler and Valiquette, CAO Diskey, and department managers as we wrapped up phase 2 of our asset management tour. On the 29th, CAO Diskey, Deputy Clerk Planning Assistant Wales, and I had an exploratory meeting with Scott McFadden, Matthew Simpson, and Edward Ellis re prefabricated homes and how our zoning changes allow for such construction. We tossed around the idea of hosting a prefab builders forum, much along the lines of what we did with our 2024 prefab bridge forum. We would treat this as an information session for residents, inviting other prefab builders. Stay tuned. That evening, Chuck and I hosted a welcome dinner for the Tweed & Company Jersey Boys cast and crew. On the 30th, I met with Renee Young and Shannon Ruddle to strategize on our Food for All Trillium application. On August 1st, MPP Ted Hsu from Kingston and the Islands wanted to follow up on our pitch for help from the province and if we'd had any success in that regard. I was taken aback since he's not even our MP, but he still wanted to know how we were faring. Over lunch, I shared my frustrations that the province has denied all our infrastructure funding requests for 2023, 24, and 25. We talked about the lack of response also to our 2 March proposals to Premier Ford and my July 21st follow-up letter on those proposals. I then took MPP Hsu on a tour. We visited the MAC on our way to survey the deterioration of Flinton Road and then off to Riverside Campground. I talked about how Flinton Road has become a major thoroughfare with GPS directing traffic from and to Highway 41 as it cuts down on travel to and from Highway 7. It is also used as a provincial emergency detour route, although not classified as such. I noted how resurfacing the road along with bridge culvert and other repairs and upgrades would cost in excess of $1 million. Our application for funding was denied. Residents have been vocally upset with the condition of Flinton Road, and rightly so. However, we just do not have sufficient funds to undertake such a huge project on our own when you take into account that we have 3 bridges where the tonnage has been reduced to 3 tons. There are just too many critical infrastructure projects that need immediate attention, and we are at our wits' end as our cries for assistance continue to fall on deaf ears. On the 2nd, I attended the Art in the Park, hosted by Tweed and Area Arts Council, and assisted Terry Ward volunteering serving lunch to attendees. I see that Councillor Fleeler was also helping staff the Tweed and Area Heritage Centre table, and Councillor Valiquette was also in attendance. On the 4th, I met with the builder to discuss the preliminary development plans. Please note that we have a full open-air burn ban due to current dry conditions and elevated fire risk. These exceedingly high temperatures and lack of rain have made for severe drought conditions in our community. Chuck and I enjoyed Jersey Boys at the MAC on the 6th. The voices, the songs, and performance were absolutely spectacular. Congratulations to Tim Porter and Emily Mewett in yet another sensational music hit. It was also wonderful to touch base with MP Shelby Cramp-Newman, who was also in attendance, as was Councillor Valiquette. CAO Diskey reached out to our MPP Brise and arranged a meeting for the 7th. We solicited support for our recent municipal housing infrastructure program, Health and Safety Water Stream Funding application. We also used the meeting as an opportunity to share our concerns with the recycling program. Funding for Flinton Road, which he agrees needs a major overhaul. Lack of funding for our asset management plan and critical infrastructure, and to seek his support for our 2 proposals currently in front of Premier Ford. MPP Brise gave me Premier Ford's cell number for direct follow-up. I look forward to the opportunity to work with Premier Ford and to exploring the merits of our 2 proposals. I'm grateful for this link because the Premier has often said that mayors have access to him via his cell phone, which he typically hands out on a regular basis. MPP Brise also noted that following the AMO conference, the province will be looking at some sort of rural support plan and solicit input from rural communities. That evening, I attended both the Kiwanis executive and general meetings. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Demarche and Councillor Valiquette, for attending the Foundation's barbecue on the 9th. Council agrees and shares in your frustrations with the changes at our recycling depot. Please do not blame our staff for the inadequacies of the new system. This change was imposed on municipalities by the provincial government. As I have stated, these changes are nonsensical, poorly implemented, inadequately planned, and not fully thought through. For example, businesses and not-for-profits can no longer participate and must make alternative arrangements, and in all likelihood, with their recyclables ending up as garbage and hauled to someone else's waste site. We see this change as yet another download of provincial responsibility, essentially a direct provincial tax on our small businesses and not-for-profit community. The municipality can no longer use our depot site. These are the impacts of these changes, how ridiculous they are. Additionally, we have been lobbying for 4 bins at our depot, and all to no avail. MPP Brisé has been made aware of these concerns, and as he noted, there will be some growing pains. He stated that inquiries and complaints are to be directed to the customer services line of Circular Materials, which is in the numbers in my marks. And we also suggest that you share your frustration with bin providers and Environmental 360 Solutions. Their phone number is also in my remarks. I made reference earlier to my follow-up letter to Premier Ford dated July 21st, 2025, with the lack of response to our 2 letters and proposals sent in March 2025. So that's over almost 5 months ago. As noted in my letter, it has now been 4 months since the municipality of Tweed submitted 2 detailed proposals for your consideration, both aimed at addressing pressing challenges facing small, rural, and northern communities. Despite our sincere efforts and outreach, we have yet to receive an acknowledgement or response from your office, your ministers, our local MP, or the leaders of the opposition parties. This silence is deeply disheartening. The first proposal sent directly to the Premier's office on March 25th, 2025 addressed the repatriation of OPP costs for small, rural, and northern communities during this period of uncertainty caused by Trump. The proposal suggested a temporary repatriation of OPP policing costs as a meaningful way to demonstrate that this government understands and supports the needs of small municipalities. The proposal also notes that they could instruct municipalities to invest those savings into infrastructure projects within their communities. The second proposal submitted on March 27th, 2025 focused on supporting small, rural, and Northern Ontario housing and aligns with the Ford government's own priority to reduce barriers to housing development. The letter goes on to note, we have copied the leaders of Ontario's 3 main political parties on this letter, as we did when the proposals were originally submitted. We respectfully ask all parties, regardless of your political affiliation, to consider their merit and potential and to speak to them in the legislature. We are eager to work with any partner committed to helping rural and Northern Ontario succeed. And concludes with, given that 4 months have passed without acknowledgement, I'm resubmitting both proposals for renewed consideration. It is deeply concerning that when a small rural municipality operating with limited resources and under significant financial strain takes the initiative to present tangible and constructive solutions, that those efforts are met with silence. We expect such outreach to be met with dialogue. The absence of basic acknowledgement sends a troubling message that rural and northern municipalities are to be seen but not heard. Furthermore, I've reached out to AMO and Roma. I've also made clear to all parties that I'm more than willing to serve as an engaged and constructive member of any committee or working group convened to address the challenges facing small rural communities. Without a doubt, this situation is serious and many of us are teetering on the brink. The time to act was yesterday. What is so frustrating is that 3 weeks have passed and we have yet to hear from the Premier on my second follow-up letter. I will give him a buzz now that I have his cell phone. Both the letter and proposals are included as an information item in today's council package. I've asked that they also be posted with my mayor's remarks on our website. I also sent our supporting small rural and Northern Ontario housing development proposal to Minister Robertson, Federal Minister of Housing and Infrastructure, for his consideration. On behalf of council and staff, I want to thank you for your understanding and commitment in wanting to help us make this the best municipality we possibly can be. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so that we do have 3 notices of motion. The first notice of motion is from Councillor Valiquette, and it's Ria Dog Park. Could I have a mover and a well, it will be moved by Councillor Fluter to get on the table. Could I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Demarche. I'm going to turn it over to Councillor Valiquette to address his motion.
Mr. Mayor, so I'll just read the motion and we'll go from there. So it was essentially council direct staff through the CAO to explore the possibility of converting the Ball Diamond at the Memorial Park boat launch into a seasonal off-leash dog park for both large and small dogs. Some of the things that I think would be imperative in exploring would be to know the use of the current Ball Diamond. How often is it actually used? The insurance implications, if any, the cost to fencing off an area that would facilitate this kind of activity, and would a local group be interested in taking this on and raising the money that would be required. As a dog park, it would encourage Tweed as a destination with people with pets. It's in close proximity to the Memorial Park, Stoka Lake, and the amenities that that has to offer. It would also be a resource for local residents in the municipality, of which I think we probably all heard a little bit as we were campaigning that some people would like something like that. The cost of maintenance would vary, but the cutting of the grass would be no more than it is currently. Flowers, shrubs, trees could be added over time to contribute to the natural environment, encouraging other natural activity over time. That's really it. I don't want to take up a whole lot of time with the motion, but
thank you. Any questions of Councillor Valiquette's motion? Yes, Councillor Fluter.
Your worship, in the financial situation we're in right now, I don't think we can, I do understand, the purpose, but I don't think we can look at this right now. I don't even think we could spend the administrative time to look at this right now. We've got bigger fish to fry. We've got, and just a word from, Major City Dog Park. My son went to the dog park with his dog and he said he wouldn't go back. He said it's so dirty. The people aren't picking up after the dogs. Anyway, I don't think, and the fencing, just a ballpark on the fence, probably 30 grand for the fence. The additional work to groom around the posts underneath the fence. Many hours, I think, would be allocated to this.
Council, thank you very much, Councillor Fluter. Councillor Valiquette, at one point, I think you mentioned that maybe we could look at, from the cost perspective that Councillor Fluter's just addressed, looking at one of the community groups to see if that would be something that they would undertake to raise funds for.
yeah, so my idea isn't to create more expense for the municipalities, to try to do it so it would be revenue neutral. I mean, and I was thinking about, whippersnippering around, but I mean, you could very easily just put mulch around the bottom of the fence and that would stop any weeds from growing up. Still have to cut the grass inside it, which we do now anyway. But I think we could, if we can find the right group that would be interested in engaging in this kind of thing, I think we could do it, and it wouldn't cost the municipality any money, but it would offer an additional resource to the community.
What if Councillor Fluter's also raised another point that being what's already on the CAO and our team's plate right now, like, is this just another distraction? And do they have time for it? If we did agree to it, we would allow this, not allow, we would encourage the CAO and team to come back to us with their timelines and what they think if they were going to look into this, when it would be possible for them to do so.
Through the chair, yeah, this is doable, and we would try to get it done prior to our budget process to possibly include that in the 2026 budget.
Okay. Any other comments? Yes, Deputy Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, we, and Councillor Valiquette's not on, we did hear about this, and I think it was previously proposed for that same location. Now, the ongoing maintenance was one of the things that was brought up, and the second thing that was brought up was, some people don't pick up after their dogs when they're done, so there's ongoing maintenance there. And the other thing that came up was that was in a floodplain. That was the other thing that came up. So those things would have to be part of any investigation too. I'm not opposed to it. It's just like
Sure.
Councillor Fluter says, it's an ongoing cost. When I look at the treasury report, I just look all over. So it's something that at budget time we could take a look at when it's actually feasible to do.
Okay, thank you. Good comments. Yes, back to you one more time.
Just another add-on, your worship, the area is used by the theater group. And it's also been mentioned that the Fair Board is interested in using that area as well. And as Deputy Mayor DeMarsh has mentioned, it is in the floodplain, so I don't know.
Well, if I may, I mean, everybody around this table has tabled some great, contributed to this discussion. They provided good feedback. I would like to see us, if not make any determination on whether or not we're going to do it, but turn it over to our team and have them look and come back to us, as Deputy Mayor DeMarsh said, in April, given that, not April, excuse me, that's what, in this fall, when we're looking at budget, to see if it's something we even entertain or not. Okay, so having said that then. Oh, sorry, I just got logged out. I got to log back in. That was very good discussion, by the way. Good things thrown out there, so thank you very much. Okay, all in favor of the motion as discussed and tabled?
You're just,
I didn't,
sorry, just for clear, we're just for further information to the budget, that's what we're motioning.
that's right. Are we okay?
Yep.
Okay, all in favor? Okay. Be it resolved that council directs staff through the CAO to explore the possibility of converting the Ball Diamond at Tweed Memorials Park boat launch into a seasonal off leash dog park for large and small dogs with cost to be tabled for consideration and budget. You got that, Lori? All in favor? Thank you. Okay, I have another motion here by Councillor Fleeler, leaf bag collection. Oh, who did I say? Fleeler? Sorry about that, Jim. Okay, Councillor Valiquette, notice of motion for leaf bag collection. I'm going to turn it over. Oh, mover is Councillor Valiquette. Can I have a seconder to get that on the table? Thank you, Deputy Mayor DeMarsh. Over to you, Councillor Valiquette.
So again, I'll read the motion, and it says, council directs staff through the CAO to arrange for annual leaf pickup in the village of Tweed, the hamlets of Marlbank, Thomasburg, Actinolite, and Queensborough. This would take place over a 1-week period in the fall annually, and the week would be at the discretion of the manager of Public Works and the manager of Parks and Recreation in concert with the CAO. They would take into account the state of foliage as well as staffing pressures. The selected week would be advertised at minimum in the local newspaper as well as social media. Only leaf waste would be accepted, and only in relation to residential commercial property in identified locations, hamlets and villages. Village and hamlets, excuse me. All leaf waste would have to be in a biodegradable paper leaf bag. All leaf waste would be disposed of at a location at the discretion of the manager of Public Works.
Thank you.
So, just to expand upon that, kind of my logic behind this was there's a transitional time, and I stand to be corrected by the manager of Public Works, where we go from filling potholes to plowing snow, where there's an opportunity for staff to contribute to this kind of activity. And again, we're working, it's relatively revenue neutral depending on what's going on, and there should be no added expense except for possibly the fuel of driving out to these hamlets for the table.
Brian, is there anything you would like to share?
Through the chair, I don't really have any concerns with the program. It would just be an extra fuel cost. Our staff time's already budgeted for, so it's just finding a couple days where we can work with parks to get something like this done.
Thank you. Any questions from council? Yes, Councillor Fleeler.
Your worship, I do appreciate the fact that this has been brought forward as well, but I think there's 1,000 residents in the rural community that don't have that opportunity. And as a matter of fact, their taxes are helping to pay for this, for the municipal, the residents in the hamlets. we've talked a few times about, recycling and using this type of thing to create mulch. I don't know if we could get some help from the province to try to implement that kind of thing, keep different things out of the waste site. It might work, but like I said, at this time in our financial position, I can't support it.
Well, okay, do you have any comments?
You go ahead. I'll
Okay.
go after.
I was just, you raise a good point again, like, when it comes to street lights and when it comes to like, even recycling and garbage pickup within our community, the residents in the communities pay for those things. And so this would be an additional expense that would be shared by everybody, which does speak to the concern that you said. So agree with that. Go ahead.
I had a lot of the same thoughts that Councilor Peter did. This would be an expansion. Right now, the garbage pickup is, the cost is borne strictly by the village residents. And if, an expansion of that would put strictly the load on those hamlets just on the general taxpayer, and that the system was never designed to do that. So, and they'd be driving right by how many rural residents to get to those hamlets, so they're subsidizing them, but they're not giving the service. So I agree. I think this is not appropriate.
And then following up with the other comment you made, when I was on council, we did look at trying to see if we could get funding for a biodigester to create compost and stuff that people could then buy back from us. Like, but we never, it was just too expensive and we never got any support on that. So, okay, any further questions? Okay, we have a mover and a seconder, all in favor of the proposal. The motion is tabled. Okay, motion is defeated. So I don't need to say anything, right? That's it. Okay. Anyway, thank you very much. I appreciate it when people come forward with ideas because it starts sparking other things like, again, the biodigester. So thank you very much. I now have a third motion. This motion is from Councillor Fleeler. And this motion is re-incineration and a more robust cycling program. Over to you, Council. Okay, could I have a seconder to get that on the table? Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. And over to you, Councillor Fleeler, to walk us through your motion, please.
Okay, you want me to read the whole thing?
Yeah, you can if you want. Go ahead. Please do.
Where it is incumbent upon the members of council, MPs to make decisions that will result in the most positive outcomes for now and future generations. And whereas the large urban centers now looking for rural areas of our province and entire country for lands to bury garbage waste. And whereas large landfill site owned by the large urban center, which receives 50% of their garbage at the present time, is expected to be full by 2029, creating more environmental impacts. And whereas continuing to bury garbage in the ground will result in our future generations having lost potable groundwater as a result of garbage leachate, rendering it unusable. And whereas we continue to destroy our environment, jeopardizing our future generations. And whereas we have worldwide technology that would allow us to use the use of clean incineration and also produce much needed electric power. And whereas the incineration of household and other municipal waste has a long tradition in Germany, which currently has 156 municipal thermal waste and incineration facilities, with an aggregate of an annual capacity of 25 million tons. And whereas with strong focus on community involvement, innovation, infrastructure, sustainable practices, Germany has set a high bar for municipal recycling programs that the rest of the world can learn from and emulate. And whereas at the present time, Germany recycles 66.1% of its garbage waste at a municipal level. This places the country in the most effective and prominent country in the world when it comes to recycling in the entire world. This highlights the citizens' strength, motivation to deal with environmental issues on a daily basis. And whereas Germany whereas German schools often integrate recycling education into their curriculum, this early exposure to the importance of recycling instills a sense of responsibility in the younger generation, creating a culture of sustainability that transcends generations. Now therefore be it resolved, together with municipalities, provincial and federal governments, as well as our manufacturing partners, form a working group to ensure that our waste disposal issues can be resolved quickly, efficiently, and effectively with the use of incineration and more robust recycling programs and sustainable practices, so that our future generations will not suffer from our environmental mismanagement.
Thank you. Now if I may, so this is something that is a motion that you would like us to table and send to all other municipalities to support. But should we be directing this though, like as a letter as well to the premier or who's ever responsible?
Yes, I would like that.
Okay.
So it's never made sense to me to bury garbage in the ground. We've got leachate problems in our small municipality. What about like the urban center like Toronto? How many millions and millions and millions of tons of garbage do they bury in the ground? The leachate overtakes the water supply, makes it unusable. It's not going to affect me much, but what about our grandchildren? What about the child that's born right now? What chance do they have? I mean, we need to really push to try to change things. Look at the weather we have, and it's all methane gas from this waste being buried in the ground. All kinds of different things. I could talk for months, but I won't.
Okay, thank you very much. Be it resolved that council directs staff to investigate any questions from, sorry, staff, council. Investigate the possibility of working together with Ontario municipalities, provincial and federal governments, as well as our manufacturing partners to form a working group to ensure that our waste disposal issues can be resolved quickly, efficiently, effectively with the use of incineration, more robust recycling programs and sustainable practice, so that our future generations will not suffer from environmental mismanagement, and to request support from these organizations, as well as we want this sent to all municipalities in Ontario, and to be directed, personal direction to Premier Ford and Minister responsible. Is that okay? All in favor? Thank you.
As well, your worship, the other parties as well.
What do you mean, the opposition parties?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. To all. Got that? All right. Okay, all in favor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public planning meeting. Okay, we'll move into this first. Okay, can I have a move and a seconder to get onto the table the public planning meeting for zoning amendment ZA 15/25. The applicant is Joan Trainer. The authorization agent is Taylor DeRuiter, PA Miller Surveying Limited. Location concession 11, part lot 11, Hungerford. Purpose, the purpose and effect of the proposed zoning bylaw is to change the zoning of a 0.42 acre severed lot from the rural zone, RU zone, to the rural residential RR zone. In addition, an approximate 5 acre part of the retained lands is to change zoning from special rural commercial 3 zone RC3 to the rural RU zone. The rezoning of the severed and portion of the retained lands is a condition of severance file B 151/23 and will provide for the appropriate zoning for the size and proposed use of the new parcels. Okay, I will be, there's no comment yet, but. Oh, sorry. Okay, thank you, mover. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Marsh. Thank you, Councillor Flito. Okay, the way this works is I'm going to reach out and ask different groups. Is there anybody online, Lucas? No. Is there anybody here, resident, who would like to speak in opposition to this particular zoning? Is there anybody who wanted to speak to it? Seeing none. Are there any questions from council on this particular application? Seeing none. Be it resolved that council authorize staff to bring forward an amending bylaw at the next regular council meeting. All in favor? Thank you. Moving on, delegations. Zach, Peter Zach, would you like to come up to the microphone? Oh, okay, Peter is here today. He wants to address comprehensive zoning bylaw 2012-30 to permit a limited number of backyard chickens, specifically haying lands. Before you begin, I just want to mention that we've had many delegations, and this is probably one of the best ones that's ever been prepared.
Oh, really?
Thank
Okay.
you very much. It was very
thank you.
thorough. We're not going to make any decision, but
Right.
I mean, it was very, very thorough. So thank you
Okay,
very much
well-
for taking the time to do that.
Thank you. I followed the guideline online
That
and,
was amazing.
and did my,
Your report had the twice.
oh, wow.
So I
awesome. Well,
will turn it
thank
over
you.
to you to walk us through your delegation.
Okay, so as you know, I'm here to request an amendment to the comprehensive zoning bylaw 2012-30. A petition was started a few months ago that came to my attention. It was sort of a low-key online one. It's visible on change.org. It was started by Mary Dupont. And I believe as of this morning, it was up to 181 signatures, local signatures. So with that, I offered to assist in maybe bringing this to council, and at some point, I found myself at the tip of the spear. I'm really nervous. I tend to be when I'm in a room with you folks in the microphone. So the petition is available on that document. The link is at the bottom on the references if you'd like to check it out, as well as all the other information that I had accessed in the process. I went, as you saw with that, with Kingston being the model. And the reason I chose Kingston is because out of all the other municipalities I took a look at, it seems to be the one municipality that seems to have a happy balance between the farmers or the backyard farmers trying to raise these hens and the municipality itself. It seems that they are averaging with 3 complaints annually, which is really good. The reason I also chose Kingston is because this was brought to council here back in 2011. And that time council decided to not amend that bylaw. Also in 2011, the city of Kingston had the same thing brought to them and they chose to go with that. They have been doing this since 2011. They've had a really good success rate with this. And this is why I proposed them as the model, because they've got the most time into it and they've got such a really good success rate. The meat and potatoes, I guess, is really in that document. My intent was to come in here and read what I submitted, but it's very dry. It's very to the point, very factual. There's no subjective emotion or anything like that. It's just sort of the meat and potatoes. And I just wanted to kind of stress that when you weigh all the potential problems that can come with doing this against all the proven benefits of doing this, there is absolutely no contest, especially in the post-COVID world and with supply chain uncertainty, and you know, pest problems and backyard gardeners and everything. This just seems like a really good win. And I think if we kept it small scale and kept it only to laying hens, no roosters, I really don't foresee any great problems with running with Kingston's model.
Well, thank you very much. I do encourage everyone, if they want to find out more about what Zach is presenting to us today, it is part of our council package and his full delegation report is there. And so I would encourage people to access it. Any questions from council? Yes, thank you very much.
Peter, the only thing I wasn't clear on in your proposal, are you proposing rural only or rural and R1s only, village hamlets?
I'm proposing everywhere that does not meet the 15-acre requirement.
Oh.
So that would actually include right here in town as well.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? So, no. Okay, thank you very much. We will mull this all over. I really want to again, thank you for being so thorough.
Oh,
I mean, you've covered every angle, so it's well balanced.
Okay.
I will say.
Okay.
Your approach has been very well balanced, and for that, I'm very grateful, as is council, because
Okay.
you provide us with a lot of good information to contemplate in this process.
all right. Well, I appreciate the feedback.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thanks for your time.
Do we get to talk to?
No, I'm sorry.
No?
No, sorry, that's,
You didn't bring up like that they eat ticks and.
no, it's all in his report. All that is in his report. He's done a great job on that report. I would recommend that you access our website and see the thoroughness of his.
get to agree or disagree
No.
or sign something or,
No,
What?
no, it will be council's decision. That's the way the process works, Lynn.
and then
Okay.
are you gonna discuss it again?
We will what will happen is our team will look into it and then come back to us with further information. So thank you again, as I said, Zach, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now, is Martin here?
I haven't seen them.
Okay, we'll skip it. We'll go to the second delegation. Is Cindy here? Cindy's not here either. Okay, we're gonna go now to Justin Harrow, the Director of Planning and Economic Development. Justin, if you want to come up to the microphone, thank you very much for joining us. Justin is going to be talking about the new streamlined planning approach and resource capitalization SPARK program that the county has basically embraced, and Justin is going around and sharing with council and residents, and so people can tap into it, about how proposed planning is going to change and be improved. Over to you.
Before, Lucas, can you adjust our air conditioning, please?
Okay.
Okay.
So I was coming in and want to put me on the hot spot there. So thanks for having me here. Thank you for the introduction, Mayor. I appreciate that. So here today to talk to you about something we've been working on for quite a while. So many of you folks may actually remember being in El Dorado when we held our first meeting regarding the SPARK program, looking at how to share services, and among that was our planning services. And we had all of the member municipal councils out, as well as some of the staff as well, to talk about that and try and coordinate some of those things. So I thought what I would do is just give you a little bit of the background as to why we started this project and have worked towards implementing it. And then I'll go through just a little bit of the program itself, and then I'll give you folks a chance to ask any questions you may have on this as well. There's a lot of information, so I'll try and be as succinct as I can, and I'll leave as much time for questions as I can at the end. So back in 2021, we did start this process amid a bit of a changing background. So as we all know, in 2021 and COVID changed a lot of things. Planning and development wasn't immune to that. Since that time, we've seen a number of changes that have happened that have really kind of impacted the amount in terms of workload and in terms of complexity of applications related to development throughout not just the county, but throughout the province. So some of the things that we're seeing is the level of regulation from the province has increased greatly. Some of my information here is dated, but since 2019, we've had at least 9 new bills, 8 regulations, 2 new PPSs, and a new provincial planning statement's been in effect now in the last 6 years. I think those numbers are quite a bit higher. I think we're up to about 15 or 16 new bills, all related to planning specifically. So that doesn't even touch on all the other things your staff have to deal with other regulations and rules that province are throwing. All that to say, it's a lot of information being, or a lot of legislation that your staff have to keep up with, our staff have to try and keep up with, and it's just not realistic for that to happen, especially when you're dealing with things as specialized as the planning. We're also seeing a huge increase in the complexity of files. The more legislation we have, the more variety in terms of development that we're seeing, all good things, but puts a lot of strain on staff time, staff resources to manage these things. And then finally, just the workload itself has really increased significantly over the last few years. So if I can get just to the next slide there, just a quick chart. So this is just talking about applications for zoning bylaw amendments, minor variances, and site plans. So these are just files that the municipality would be responsible for. As you can see, not a lot through 2016, 17. Then we get 2021 and we see a huge increase, almost doubling those applications. And they've continued to go up for 2023. I don't have 2024 and 2025 on there, but they are leveling off, but they're still at that same height, which is significantly more than we've seen in a number of years. So that's put pressure on county staff, but also on municipal staff that have to deal with all of these things as well. And we haven't kept pace in terms of staffing levels for those things either. So we've more than doubled our applications. We haven't more than doubled our staffing to accommodate that as well. So I think under that landscape, we've really recognized that we're not only the county planning department's at capacity, but your staff are at capacity as well. They've got a number of other things they need to do on top of dealing with planning issues. So trying to help, so and part of this is trying to help relieve some of that pressure for your staff so that they can spend more time working on other things that they need to do that are important to the municipality, and leave some of the planning and development stuff to others. One other thing I did want to touch on just before we get into the Spark program is just how the two-tier system works. I know for you folks, you deal with it on a day in, day out basis, but for the benefit of everybody, the county itself has core services that they're legislative to look after. So that's our sub-plans of subdivision, official plan and official plan amendments, as well as severances, which I'm sure we see on a monthly basis. We also provide comments for zoning bylaw amendments and variances. Everything else under planning is under the legislation and jurisdiction of member municipalities. So that, again, your site plan, minor variances, zoning bylaws, and a handful of other things that we don't see often but are under your responsibility. And it's a lot of extra work that you folks have to do. So just wanted to make that distinction as we talk about this plan, is that the county has often loosely provided those informally provided a lot of those services to municipalities, some in Tweed as well. But as you can imagine, with 14 municipalities, 14 different needs, 14 different processes that we follow, really creates some inefficiencies in terms of the process, some duplication and those types of things. So one of the things that we're going to be trying to tackle with the Spark program is trying to condense those all into a one-stop shop, which leads to the next slide. I think you jumped one there. Sorry, Lucas. Oh, maybe I've got it out of order. My apologies. So enhanced supports and services. So if I'll back up a little bit, over the years, the county's tried to take on a little bit more work to municipalities where that support's been needed. Even though it's not under the county's jurisdiction, we saw a need for support, and we've kind of done that over the years. And again, just touching on the fact that we've been doing that in different ways for each municipality. So we're really trying to find ways to enhance those services, but also to make them efficient for municipalities. So when we sat down back in MEDOC and we talked about all of these things, we looked at ways to try and make that more efficient and come up with a new vision for that. And I'll get you to jump to the next one for me there. So really with Spark, coming again from that collaborative approach in MEDOC there, we came up with the idea of this one-stop shop for developers, for the public, and for staff to come if they've got questions around it. Rather than going to each different municipality and then to Conservation Authority and to all the other agencies, at least we can create a one-stop shop, for people when they're coming to see us at the municipal level. The second part is making sure that, and this is an important one, maintaining autonomy for member municipalities with decision-making. So this isn't about the county taking over decision-making authority or anything like that at the municipal level here. Really what we're looking at is trying to manage some of the workload in that planning process. So I guess the easiest way to kind of explain it is if the municipality does decide to join the Spark program, the county's planning department becomes the municipality's planning department. So we'll run through the process for you. We'll prepare the reports. We'll make sure all the proper notifications have been done. And we bring all that information to you at this table with the best information so you guys can make the best decision for your municipality. And that's key. We heard that quite clearly throughout throughout the collaborative process. And that was one of the keys. And I wanted to make sure that that's understood from the get-go. It'll help. We're looking to help reduce municipal workloads, again, giving them time to do their other duties and things that they need to get done. Provide transparent and timely planning services that are consistent throughout the county. So if a developer working in Sterling has a question, they know who to go to, and they want to do something in Tweed, they know who to go to, they know what the process is, and it builds a lot of confidence in our development community as well. Looking at building our capacity, I think we all know it's a challenge to find planners to start with. And it's a challenge to find experienced planners. The county is set up to deal with planning. So we have on staff now 5 planners who can do this work. But more importantly, if one of them happened to leave, either they retire or for any other reason, we still have 4 more planners to carry that load while we look for another one. What we've found with municipalities is as through attrition or as folks retire, if folks leave, there's a gap that gets left there, and that creates a problem for and challenges for municipalities to manage those workloads while those folks are gone. It also means a knowledge loss as well. So as folks are gaining experience and knowledge with municipalities, that knowledge disappears as those folks disappear, and that's a real challenge for municipalities. So trying to consolidate that into the counties at the county level where we're already set up for that really helps avoid that issue as we can continue on that process, and we're able to absorb some of that workload for a time. So what is the new model? In short, essentially looking at the county taking over the process level, the administrative work for your planning applications, your planning work, trying to streamline that process for one consistent approach throughout the county itself. A couple of other things to highlight through that. As part of this process, we are looking at establishing 2 new satellite offices as well. One is actually just started in Madoc at the county Community Human Services building in Madoc Township, and it will be staffed with a full-time planner during business hours. So 5 days a week from 8:30 to 4:30. If somebody needs planning services, we have a planner in Madoc now for people to visit if they don't want to make the trip all the way down to Belleville. There's a second satellite office also being set up in the professional building in the town of Bancroft. We'll have an office up there as well. Again, a planner there full-time during regular business hours for folks to attend if they want to see somebody in person. I think we'll also of course, be trying to leverage technology. So we'll be using Teams, Zoom for folks to talk to us. We can use emails, all those things that we're doing. We'll continue to leverage those various different options as well, but we wanted to make sure and recognize that folks still want to have access to the people as well and to ask questions in person. So we've added those satellite office to help increase that availability and that visibility throughout the community. So how are we going to be doing that? As I mentioned, we've already established, we're working on establishing those satellite offices. The one in Madoc is open. The one in Bancroft we're still working on. Once we've hired staff for that, we'll have it open as well. The hope is by the end of fall, we'll have both of those up and running. But as we talked about the consistency in the one-stop shop, what we're looking for is a service level agreement or a planning agreement with our member municipalities. And this is critical. It's something we've been able to get away with in the past because we haven't seen those huge workloads. We haven't seen that complexity, and it was easy to do. As all those different things increase, we really need to be able to define the roles that the municipality plays in that planning and development process, as well as the county, so that we're not worrying about duplication of services. We all know who's doing what, and we don't, and we create that confidence that in the development community and the public that we know what we're doing and we know who's doing what. We're not bouncing people around to various different offices to answer questions on things. So I did provide a draft of that agreement in your packages. So I won't go over it in detail. I just wanted to highlight a few different things in there for folks, just so you're aware of it. The first is the enhanced planning services. So that is the role that the county, or the roles and responsibilities that the county will have. So in addition to all our core services that I mentioned, we'd also be taking on the enhanced services, which would include things like zoning bylaws, minor variances, again, all those other things that the municipality would typically be responsible for. And that is adjustable. As we've talked about in the past, we can make some tweaks to make sure that it fits for the municipality tweak context as well. Obviously, we want to be consistent, but we recognize that there are some differences and we need to be able to adjust to those things. And we can work with your staff on those types of different things. The second part to that is there's also a section for municipal responsibilities. So those are things that you may still, again, that's the adjustable piece. If there's things that you want to maintain in terms of your roles and responsibilities, we can add that into that section there, and it's clear for everyone who's doing what at the end of the day. Now, we also wanted to talk, I want to talk a little bit about the accountability piece. So the agreement itself establishes what they call a planning service committee, which will consist of the county CA, myself, and then the clerk or the CAO of every municipality. And what that is, that's really a mechanism for folks for municipalities as well as us to sort out any potential issues that come up. As much as I'd like to think we'll have it all sorted and there won't be any issues, I think it's fair to say that that's not the reality of things. So this committee is really set up to try and address those issues quickly and without having to go through a lot of rigmarole to make those changes. So we can do it informally in-house with everybody's approval. And the last part is really just, again, on the accountability piece. We recognize that we're providing a service and we need to make sure that we're providing that standard and we're meeting those standards that we're offering. So Schedule A to that agreement is a list of the processes along with minimum deadlines that we'll need to meet and that the county agrees to meet with that. And those will be reviewed, tracked and reviewed annually with county council as well as be available to municipal councils as well. So you can see where we're meeting those timelines, or if we're not, we can take those steps to adjust that. The second part to that, there are some, I think we recognize that there's minimum standards that we want to meet, but we also want to improve and do better. And with that, we also have some target deadlines on there as well. They're not guaranteed timelines, but they are goals that we'll try and meet that are enhanced beyond those minimum target dates. And we'll be looking to try and meet those as well so that we can, as we say, continually improve that process as we move forward. So that was all I wanted to point out in the agreement. The last thing I think is probably the biggest question on folks' mind is how are we paying for this and what's the cost for this at the end of the day to the municipality? The short answer to that is it's not going to cost the municipality anything further. The way the program is designed is we'll be doing that through application fees. The county would be charging an application fee to process these applications. It would be similar to the way the Conservation Authority has its own separate fee as well. So the county would collect that fee on its own, and we would use those to fund this program and to move it forward as well. So there's no formal fee required from municipality to implement this program should you choose to join us.
Okay, thank you very much, Justin. As Justin has mentioned, the directions coming down from the province, it's actually quite phenomenal how many times things have changed and new additions have been made, and it's very difficult for small communities like ours to even attempt to stay on top. I've been forthcoming in sharing that with you at Justin's report is tabled at Hastings County, sharing that with the rest of council, and I've asked Councillor Valley Kett, who is our representative on our planning committee, to also share that with the planning committee, just to give people an idea of how difficult it's becoming. So thank you very much for that. And also there are the penalties now too that the government has imposed when people don't respond and within a certain window when a project has been started. So again, it puts a due pressure on us. Before I turn it over to us, I would like to turn it over to our planning assistant, Lucas Wills, and ask you if you have any comments or what your thoughts on this are.
Through the chair, we've been working with Justin, CAO Diskey and myself, had a meeting with Justin and from Hastings County for Tweed Gibb about a month ago to go over some of the details of the Spark agreement. I've been involved, I think, right from the get-go with the Spark group, with the meeting in El Dorado. I think we agree on 97% of the things in the agreement. There's a couple of details that we still need to hash out to make an agreement that's going to work for Tweed. I mean, one of the key things that we've talked about is, I believe it's section 14, the municipal responsibilities agreement. The key for the municipality of Tweed moving forward is cost recovery. So we're going to have to take a look at, if we still have these responsibilities under the agreement, the decision-making authority, and other factors that are included in section 14, we got to make sure that we're still recovering our costs on our end. And we've had those discussions about what that fee structure may look like in terms of the municipality moving forward. Until we get to a finalized state, and I think we'll be having some discussions over the next couple of weeks to try to finalize that. There's really nothing else that I can offer other than what's already outlined in the agreement. key things to highlight is the costs are going up regardless. The cost of doing business is what this is capturing. So we're just kind of playing catch up, I guess, a little bit in terms of establishing what these things actually cost to process and making sure that development continues to pay for development. Right to the core of Spark is the service level agreement, which we've needed to have in place for years essentially, and we're getting it done now. So I think that's going to be an important tool to hash out exactly who's doing what. The only high level thing I can add at this point is we already work very closely with the county, and we're very lucky to have a very good supportive county planning staff. Severances, subdivisions, even site plan control. We're already working collaboratively with the county to get the outcomes that we need. When it comes to zonings and minor variances, I anticipate that those collaborative approaches will continue. It probably will actually be even more collaborative than a standard severance file. So I don't see that going away. In terms of timelines, I think we expect it is going to take a bit longer to process applications. But with saying that, planning isn't something that should be rushed anyway. These are things that need to be taken a look closely at. And as Justin highlighted, things are getting more complex out there. We see it in the applications coming forward. We see it in the technical review we're circulating to our staff, especially over the last year. We have subdivisions coming. That's certainly something that's not new for Tweed, but new over the last 30 or 40 years, I would say. So there's a lot of changes coming. It's coming at a very good time.
Thank you, Lucas. Any comments from council? Deputy Mayor DeMartian, do you want to? Okay.
Just had a question. We just recently went through some comprehensive planning changes, I guess is the right word, parking and setbacks and all that works to go over the tape. So what we have in place now is pretty advanced. Maybe Bancroft or say Marmot Lake don't follow the same ideals. We get to still keep intact what we've already done there. That's my only question.
Yeah, so I think at the end of the day, it just goes back to that autonomy piece. At the end of the day, you folks make those decisions and decide how you want to shape that, shape your community. We're just here to provide the technical advice and get you through that process.
Thank you.
Councillor Flynn, and then.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. I've been involved in this for a long time, and it seems to take so long to get things done. So is there an opportunity to speed things up with this process, work with the developers and everyone all at the same table, as you say, a one-stop shop? So hopefully it'll speed things up and get underway. We've got urban centers that just don't seem to have the problems we have. I don't know why, but so all I'm asking is if we have ideas, plans, I just hope we can move forward a little quicker.
The hope is that this will overall will be more efficient for the entire county. So all our member municipalities, there's always a few things that come up that create hiccups in that process and delays, but overall we're looking at this from trying to improve that process and the efficiency throughout the county. So.
Thank you. Yes, Councillor Bellacamp.
Very quickly, Justin, is the Spark program unique just to our county, or is it used other places?
I think it's the short answer is, I mean, Spark is tailored to Hastings County and its member municipalities, but there's certainly different degrees of shared services through different like shared planning services throughout different counties throughout the province. So it's not new, the concept, but certainly Spark is tailored to us specifically.
And in the other communities that are using it, are they seeing success? Or because some of your language when you were presenting it seemed not overly positive. It was like and don't quote me on exactly what you said, but it was like, I think this, or we're hoping, and I kind of echo Councillor Fleeler that's just moving to something like this, I think is just you don't want to lose the things that you have that you think you're doing well. And I'm just trying to feel you out because
it will work.
Okay.
It has worked in other places. We've got it set up to the way we have things set up. It will be more efficient.
Okay.
At the end of the day, we will see improvements through this process.
All right. Thank you.
Any other questions? Again, thank you very much, Justin, for tabling this with us. As I said, I've been sharing your updates to council on the process of the program, and I am the chair of planning, and I am grateful for all that you and your team do for our county. And what I'm going to ask is for Lucas and for our CAO to look at the proposed contract, to look at how we want to tailor it and amend it to ourselves and bring that back to council for review. Okay,
That's
thank you
great.
very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, I think I saw Martin Bell and Cindy out there. I'm going to call Cindy first, Martin, because she's going to be very short, and then I'll call you. Sure. So welcome, Cindy. I hear you have some good news.
I do have some good news, council, and thank you. Anyway, I'm here to announce June 20th, 2026 will be the second annual Rockin' the Trails. Looking to grow the event from 1,010 to 1,200 to maybe 1,500. We feel we can handle it. We have more accommodations available, as well as they come back from Sterling after a few hours, and they were able to get back in time for dinner and stay. We have a new vibrant website. It's www.rockinthetrail.ca. It will be showcasing a video will be going up today. I think you'll really enjoy it for promotion of Tweed and area and some of the businesses in downtown. And photos, we're working on a photo gallery and album. And last year, the tourism economic benefits were key findings. I'm just going to read off because it's a full report. The total event attendance was 1,310. Out of area visitors from 40 plus kilometers away was 865. Local participants less than 40 kilometers were 445. An estimated direct economic impact is 805,500. And total economic impact was, with the multipliers, was 968,800. And participants traveled from as far as 450 kilometers away, and return on investment was 6-1, so a strong performance. This report was done with Destination Ontario and myself, and you'll have the full report as we move forward soon. Right now, we're working on Save the Date card, and we will be handing them out, and they'll be ready for the Tweed Stampede, where we have a booth in. There's a lot of country people that come there to enjoy country music, so we feel that audience will be worthwhile to have a booth over there. And sales will begin. I cannot announce the artist yet, but sales will begin October 1st this year. We've already had calls as of this morning for people wanting to buy tickets, and when can they? Because again, we've put up we put up the announcement that it's going to be June 20th, 2026. We have a list of people wanting to camp again at both Stokoe Lake Lodge and the fairgrounds. So it's going very well. And yeah, so we'll be working with Municipality of Tweed Council and staff as we move forward with the plans. And most, if not all, the partners are back involved. Like Yamaha is sponsoring us again. Tweed Tire is also sponsoring. You'll see a list of them across our website. So I'm just here to make that announcement to prepare. And again, it's going to be an exciting investment is also coming some from Destination Ontario again. I can't say how much right now because he's really working on it. And anyway, it was a really enjoyable event. It was a lot of work, a year in the planning, but it was well worth it for our community. I've lived here all my life and I was proud to be part of it.
Well, thank you very much. Just so everybody knows, Cindy Cassidy is the executive director for the Eastern Ontario Trails Alliance, and she was responsible for this signature event for our community. And unfortunately, I wasn't here, but everything I have heard, including from my fellow councillors, was that it was a huge success. And so we are very excited, and we have set aside that third weekend as your weekend in June to make this an annual event. We're so excited that it is coming back, and we look forward to working with you on making this happen. Any questions from council? Yes, Deputy Mayor Marsh.
No questions, Mayor, but I think Councillor Valiquette and Councillor Fleeler will agree with me. We were in awe that day. I honestly don't know how, Cindy, you can build on something that was done so well the first time, but I'm sure you'll find a way to do it. You always do, and.
Already have.
I'm certainly looking forward to seeing it again next year. I've never seen so many gay communities in my life, and I couldn't see the end of them, but it was fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, okay, let's.
Thank
With
you.
you all the way on this one.
Take care. Bye
Thank
now.
you. Bye now. Okay, now I'm going to ask Martin Bell. Martin, if you'd like to come up to the microphone, if you would, please. He's going to provide information regarding property concerns and severance. He's looking at over here.
Well, we have two issues.
Sure.
The big issue right now for me is that 8 months ago, 10 months ago, I called Jamie. He was here in the office, in his office somewhere, but able to get a town computer. I said, can I put shipping containers on my property and make a used storage out of it? Just a second. Yes, you can. So I go ahead and spend over $100,000 I've invested in, not shitty old used ones that are rusty and shitty looking. I bought really good one-timers, they're called, and set it up. And then I 8 months later, Quinte Conservation calls me and says, oh, we have a report. Somebody, has a concern about the shipping containers. So I said, well, come down and look. He came and looked, oh, they're all 8 by 20s. I said, yes, I have one 40-foot, but all 8 by 20s. Well, that's under the off our jurisdiction now because of that new 160 square foot thing. You can put as many as you want, close to the river as you want. You have to take a chance they're not going to fall in. So I tapped him on the back and said, oh yeah, thanks a lot. I guess I got, everything's good. Oh, I don't know. I think the town's going to be coming after you. So I said, excuse me? Oh yeah, the town's going to be coming after you. So I said, did they say something? Oh, no, nothing was said. So then, 2 days later, 2 building inspector guys that work for your building inspector department, 2 guys, it takes to drive down and put a notice with a couple of pieces of duct tape on my shipping container. If they worked for me, one of them would have been fired. There should have only been one person do that job, but they came down and did it. And now I'm told that, oh, you can't do that. You need an engineered report. I just talked to my engineer and he's talking, I may need electrical engineers and all this, and thousands of dollars to do what your building inspector wants me to do. I sent some photos to Lori of shipping containers down in Belleville, the same thing at that big My Storage on Millennial Parkway. None of them are, they say, the building inspector said you may have to attach them to the ground, which is a lot of money, a lot of expense. And down there, even in Sterling, the ones are right across from the building inspector where he has his office in Sterling. They're little 10-foot units so that, yeah, they should be attached to the ground because they do have a potential to blow away. So I just think that, we're promoting now that we can build a house that's 600 square feet or 700 square feet. Well, those people are going to need storage. And then I asked, well, what do I have to do? Is it common? Is that my engineer I talked to never heard of it before? Like they're all over the place, these shipping container used storage units.
I think, Martin, in discussions with myself and with CAO Diskey, and you, we sort of came to we wanted you to come here to share your concern. And I think you were looking at us to see if council would write a motion, so basically supporting your position to waive the fee associated with each one of these. Is that still?
Well, that's only part of it. That's the fee they want. And like Jim just said, everything's so complicated these days. And we'll move on to that when we talk about the severance of my property there too.
But let's deal with this.
But yeah, so
What you're looking for?
Yeah, I just said that if I have to do all that stuff, I'm going to change my business plan, and I'm going to sell them. Right? I'll just sell them to the people. They rent it and leave it. They can rent that little piece of ground off. Then there's no liability to the town, no liability to me. They own it.
So would you like us to?
Well, no, what I'd like to do is to be reasonable and say that, so I don't have to spend all that money on engineering reports and everything.
So when we last spoke, we encourage you to come to us to
Yeah.
table your concern.
Yeah,
So that we could discuss about having
Yeah.
a motion that we would send to the building.
okay, okay, good,
Is that
good.
okay?
Yeah, okay, that's good.
We'll
good.
do that.
Okay.
I mean, we'll talk about that.
Right.
I just, okay, so that's
So,
number one.
yeah,
Number
no.
two is.
The number two is the severance.
Mhm.
You know, like, again, I, 2 years ago, when I first found out about that I owned Hannah Street, I agreed to give it back to you for free. And then there was a hum-ha's back and forth, council leaves, the new council comes in, I say, I want to be, you know, and Peter was at the meeting and so were you, right? Jamie, that I said, I'll do it at the end, I asked for 100,000, oh, no, we're not giving you 100. No, we don't have 100. I said, okay, the 4 lots on the other side of the thing, I'll take those. Even swap to give you the street back. No, we'll do it. So I said, then I said, the last choice is you cut that property off, get it severed, pay for everything, severance and rezoning, and get me 4 or 3 building lots. And when that's done, I'll give you the street back. We agreed to it. My lawyer at the time, Tyler McMullen, couldn't do it because he said, oh, I can't look at the agreement because I do work for the town. It's a conflict of interest kind of. He was able to look at it afterwards, but I signed it and I agreed to, I'm not paying a cent. You pay for everything and I'll give you the street back. Or otherwise I can say what my one lawyer told me to do and I'll keep it and get all your infrastructure out from underneath there. I don't want it on my property. I could do that and that would be thousands and thousands of dollars. So we've gone through it. And then I had to hire, I'm doing the thing with Gibb, talking to that Gibb Garrett guy. What's going on? Well, you have to hire a planning company. So I hired that planning company and there's no, oh yeah, we can do it. And it's going to be 7,000 or 8,000 maybe. You know, it's up to, I've done that more. It's going to be 10 or 11,000 now before we're finished. And that's only severing it off, not doing the rezoning and all the thing for the 4 lots.
Now, my understanding, Lucas, is that there was an environmental study that was required there and we undertook all the costs associated with that. There was a delay because it had to go to another phase, but that's been taken care of now.
It's been completed for some
Okay.
time, phase 1 and phase
Yeah,
2. Yeah.
Okay, and then there was the severance costs, like the rezoning and that, and I think we undertook.
Yeah, so the agreement speaks to us paying for the severance costs. Those costs have been remitted to Hastings County. The rezoning fee, I believe the wording in the amendment is that we're waiving the fees when those applications come in. So that's been covered as well. The agreement's pretty clear in what the municipality.
So basically, we are
Right.
doing what we're doing. I think that I think there is county is like we are waiting on county to make it.
Yeah, that's what I say. It's
Okay.
terrible what they do, you know, that guy and then the guy, the RPA guy that I have to pay. Oh, I don't agree with it. So we're back and forth. They're back and forth arguing when, you know,
But
it's
I
a
guess,
pretty serious thing. I talked to a real estate lawyer from Toronto. I'd never heard of anything so wild that you own the street.
so I think what we'll do is we'll reach out to planning again and just ask them where we're at with that.
Yeah, I talked to Gibb a couple, 3 or 4 days ago and Gibb said that I'm the next guy in line,
Okay.
basically.
Okay, so we're good there.
So
Go
to
ahead.
get the consent.
Through the chair, I had a conversation with Gibb this morning and he's begun the consent file work now.
On mine, yeah, okay, so that's
There you
good.
go. Okay, so we're good with that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so going back to Martin's earlier one, there was basically a request to see if we would support, I don't know if you call it a motion, but set a letter of support to the building board, asking if they would waive these, it's $200 per unit. I think.
Yeah, but that's only a portion. You take all the stuff they want to meet the building code that they're talking about. It could be another $1,000 a unit.
So we can at least do the asking them to waive the fee. We can't control the building code. But we can ask them to do that, and that was gonna
Right.
be like 10,000 or something.
Yeah.
Something. So is there any objection to us asking, proceeding and sending this letter off to because because I think we're all in agreement that, and we have shown that we are appreciative of what Martin has done in regards to the road and gifting it back to us, because it would have been very, very inconvenient for the people living there. as well as for ourselves. So I'd like to see us support this particular letter that we just talked about. If there's no questions or anything, I'll get the CAO to work on writing something for us.
Yeah, but you have to, I think in general, you have to really, the council really has to appreciate people that go out and, you know, pay commercial taxes and run a business that, you know, it's not an unlimited budget that's coming in. They're running the things, the people that are here about the abattoir, they should be, let them do it. Let's get going. What can we do to help? What we can do to help instead of,
Okay.
you know,
we
all
won't-
this other
We won't
stuff.
get on that, but
Okay.
that's coming up.
Okay.
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 That one's good. No, it's.
Oh, no, no,
It's
no.
okay. That's
Okay.
a discussion. It's coming up.
I see.
Thank you
Okay.
very much, Martin, for coming
Okay.
in and sharing your thoughts.
Yeah.
And we're going to work with you on making this all.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot. You have a good day. Okay, I think we've done all our delegations. Did we get word from Councillor Palmetier? Hope we didn't forget about the meeting. Okay, so we did those. Treasurer's report. Okay, could I move it a seconder to get onto the table, the treasurer's update as of August 12th, 2025, please. I'm moving a second. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Thank you, Deputy Mayor DeMarche. Cindy, welcome. This will be your first time actually addressing us, even though you have provided us with information in the past. There's a lot in your report. I'm going to ask you to walk through and gently walk us through each piece of this because you've got a lot of information there.
Okay.
And thank you very much. Very well detailed and very well presented.
Right. Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, there's a lot of details for sure in this, and maybe some a little concerning, but I think we're moving ahead. So the first thing to talk about is the financing requirements. So one of the first things that I did when I started in here was to try and make sure we got your financing lined up because so if we go to Infrastructure Ontario before June 30th, we can apply for funds without our 2024 financial statements. And I knew that. So I quickly put in the application for the 2025 borrowings. The issue that I didn't know about initially was that you had construction financing that had started in 23 and ended in 24. But the part about construction financing is you have to, within 120 days of the end of the project, turn it into a debenture. And if you don't do that, Infrastructure Ontario can call it back. So we had about $3.6 million that kind of we were a little late. So I went to them and I said, okay, we need to convert that. So we actually, in fact, had to reapply for that because the old information that we gave them was no longer good enough. So what I had to provide them with was the 2023 financial statements. Well, they didn't like them very much. And part of that had to do with the fact that you guys had a tornado go through. And so it made your statements look a little wonky. And when they came back to me and said, what happened with your general government spending, which is funny because like all that went into general government spending, which it appears odd anyways. You know, there's there was $800,000. And then I investigated and found out it was a tornado because they didn't initially with our statements, they said our debt capacity ratio went below 1 and they don't lend to people when it goes below 1. So with that information, though, that we had those additional costs, and the province came in and funded that eventually. So it wasn't like we were out that money. They did agree to lend us that money, or to convert it to a debenture. And I've got all that. There's a lot of timelines and a lot of bylaws and a lot of things you have to do for Infrastructure Ontario to do this. And I've included all those different deadlines that are in there for that particular financing. And I've identified as well, you know, what the original financing was for. I guess it was the Pomeroy McClellan, Joe Lore Bridge and Queensborough Hall. That was the construction financing. And so there's dates in there of all these things that we have to do, particularly the mayor and the treasurer need to sign off at certain days and certain times. And we have to make sure that everything goes in exactly when it's supposed to happen. So that those dates we have to make sure we meet. So we had in the 2025 budget, there's also financing requirements.
I'm going to hold you there.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you very much for catching that. because we could have been in a terrible situation, about, not locking in, the work that we had done at the funds that we had agreed to borrow from the province. The interest rate on that was 4.4%.
So for the construction financing, that's a variable rate that and when we lock that in, we'll get a letter of interest, what's it called? It's a, interest rate confirmation letter that happens on September 11th.
Okay.
So on the 11th, they'll notify us what the interest rate is going to be. I think right now for 25 or for 30, what was it now? 25-year term, currently on their website is 4.76%.
Thank you, but thank you for catching that,
Okay.
Natasha. Thank you.
Okay.
Next.
So for 2025, the 2025 budget had included 2.2 or $2.3 million in financing. But since then, back in February, there were a lot of changes made to the capital budget, which reduced a lot of your capital spending. So we don't we don't need to borrow $2.3 million. We're asking to borrow $1.3 million instead of that, because we've reduced. So that was a reduction in financing requirements of $943,000. And there's a table that I've included, table 2, with total debt requirements. Now that identifies the original debt we have on the lagoon that was back from 2022, where the annual payment on that particular debt is $132,000 a year. Then with the new construction financing, if it's at 4.76%, that'll add an additional $258,815 per year in debt. That's interest and principal payments. Then with the new financing of 1.3, that'll increase the debt again by another $143,000 per year, which means at the end of 2025, your annual debt payments are going to be $534,000 a year. So you've gone from $132,000 to $534,000. Mind you, construction financing, you were paying interest on that. So that's just not, included there. I talk a little bit about the greater purchase. I was concerned because there was a lease taken out on that, a 3-year lease. And that 3-year lease, well, if you've got a lot of money, it's good to shorten things up and pay it as soon as you can. But what happened with that is that it was consuming $170,000 or $171,000 per year of our debt capacity. And if we drop below 1, we can't even borrow. So I'm taking that. I want to convert that into a part of this new loan. And I'm also suggesting that we should not be financing vehicles through dealerships. We should be looking at the total financing requirements of the municipality and borrowing in that sense, not looking at item by item. It's like, we know we have this much in tax money and this much, what do we need to borrow? If we need to borrow $1 million, the best bet usually is to go to Infrastructure Ontario because they have the lowest rate. It's just, it's the most complicated borrowing because of all the rules and that. But that's all I'm suggesting is that be very careful about financing individual items, because I don't recommend that the municipality does that.
I'm going to go back to one thing where you talked about in 2025 that you took off almost $1 million, say close to $1 million of what was going to be as anticipated debt because of projects that we didn't do. And the reason why those projects didn't happen is because they were part of our delegations for projects that we wanted to do in our community, and they were denied. So therefore, any of the loans that we would have had to make in association with that, there was no point keeping them on our books because we're not going to be able to do those. And that's why you were able to reduce that. So thank you very much for that as well. It's interesting, the observation on leasing as opposed to paying it over an extended period of time, because we were toying with that and we weren't quite sure what to do. And this is I think was the first time that we've done this leasing type thing.
Through the chair, it's not an actual lease. It's called a lease for whatever reason. It is still a purchase agreement. We own the machine. For whatever reason, they use this term for whatever reason.
Okay, and it's financed through them, right?
Currently.
That's right.
Yeah, the issue is though with leasing, if you cancel a lease, there's a penalty.
Yeah.
Versus if it's financing through a dealership and it's just strict financing, there's not a penalty
You're
to
right.
pay off a loan, but there is a penalty to pay off a lease. That's the difference in that particular.
Okay.
So
What
y-
is the penalty on this one to pay? We don't know yet.
It's about, it's, well, so we have to wait until we get the money and then they'll tell us what we owe. If we had the money, a few weeks ago, the penalty was going to be about $9,000. And it's really unfortunate, but I really think we need to do this.
Because it's hampering us from other things and it's gonna put us down below a level that we don't want to be below. Okay, thank you. Okay, continue.
So the next thing I'm talking about is a debt service capacity ratio. And again, that's what Infrastructure Ontario uses to determine whether or not they're going to lend you money. And when they look at that, they look at your prior year financial information return, but they also look at your most recent financial statements. And they look at your budget, because if the budget includes any borrowing, they take that and they plug it into all of this so that, and if that then goes over 1, then that's when they don't lend. So the budget is also taken into consideration. And the problem too with what happened is you increased the tax rate in 24 and 25. It wasn't increased in 23. So when they're looking at 23 and then they're looking at debt capacity from 25 budget, they're not seeing that you've actually increased the taxes over the 2 years. But anyway, all is well.
I'm sorry, you lost me there. We did increase the taxes in 2023,
Yeah.
7.3% or something to that effect.
Okay. So, but 24 and 25, I didn't know that.
2024 was 17.8 and 25 is 15.
Yeah, sorry, it wasn't, the increase wasn't sufficient enough in 23 kind of thing. And they didn't see the larger increases in 24 and 25.
Okay, I got you. No, yeah, because in 2023, we had to start working on that budget as soon as we became a new council in November of 2022. Okay, so yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay. So essentially the debt service capacity ratio is taken by your annual operating surplus before interest payments divided by the annual debt service charges, and anything less than 1, they'll say no. Now, when they initially came back and were asking us about the construction financing and told me that drop below 1, I'm going, don't tell me this, but they said they want to work with us. They're not trying to do anything to hurt us. They're working with us as much as they can, and they did, and it's all good now. The next thing I want to talk about is the annual debt repayment limit. Now, when you look at that, sometimes it looks like, well, you got all kinds, you can borrow all kinds of money, but then when you look at the debt service capacity ratio, the two of them together, one sort of hurts the other one. So the annual debt repayment limit, the province allows that we can borrow our annual debt payments can be up to 25% of our net revenue. This municipality wrote their debt policy back a few years ago and limited that to 15%. I've revised that policy to remove the 15% limitation and just leave it be what the province will allow, because there's no point to cut yourself off, or to hurt yourself. When the province says that you can do this, I don't think you should limit yourself. And those two tables under table 3, you can see what's happened if you limit yourself to the 15% debt or net revenue. If it at 25%, the bottom line of this particular table is you can add an additional $891,000 of debt payments in the year. But at 15%, you can only add 232,000, and you're getting pretty close there to not being able to borrow. So anyway, that's why I am suggesting and have rewritten that policy to remove the 15% limitation. The line of credit increase back in June 10th. Council agreed to change that. It was 500,000 and agreed to move it to 3 million. On my recommendation, there's nothing wrong with doing that, because it's always good to have that as a a backup when we're waiting for tax dollars to come in. BMO is taking their time and they haven't yet approved this. I've asked them a few times to for information, and they just said, oh, it takes about 8 weeks to approve an increase in a line of credit.
That has not been your experience with other accounts,
No,
banks.
no. Item 2, debt management policy, kind of already talked about that. That was the revision to the policy to remove the 15% and allow the 25%. I did also identify some other items that were changed in that policy, because I remember before someone said, if you're changing a policy, can you please highlight what you're changing to make sure that you know what we're talking about? So what was changed in this was in paragraph 2, 15% of own source revenue was replaced with 25% of own source revenue. In paragraph 5, the wording was changed to include cash flow requirements are taken into consideration. And if reserve funds are used, the interest foregone must be returned to that fund. So in paragraph 5, I added C and D. I don't have it in front of me right now, but I added 2 other items, C and D, in that policy. And changed the definition of treasurer, removed the CAO. So it used to be CAO/treasurer. So number 3, budget revisions. So for the most part, these budget revisions are all due to capital changes. And in order to be official, the bylaw has to be amended, because you did a bylaw with your budget 2025. You've made a significant amount of changes. You need to redo your bylaw, and that's what we've done here. Additionally, if Infrastructure Ontario, in support of when we're asking money, they say, give us the bylaw that approves that spending. So I gave them the 2025, or give us the budget. It didn't include some of these things that were increased or added in February. So I had to do that to make sure if they start looking at our budget bylaw, I'm going to have to supply them with this new one, because you had approved it back in February. These changes actually created a budget surplus of $421,000, meaning we're kind of ahead of the game a bit, but we can't budget with a surplus. So I've temporarily put that, and it's a budget now, it's not actuals. I temporarily put that budget into a reserve. So at the end of the year, we can look at that and see exactly what to do with that. If there is a deficit, then you can use it. If there's a surplus, then you can figure out what else you want to do with the extra funds.
Now, Cindy, one of the things that we did during that budget cycle is the OPP costs were basically frozen for 2025. They went up a bit, but they weren't supposed to go up what the province had proposed that they would go up. However, they would not make a guarantee that they wouldn't go up in 2026. And so we, at the time, had put money, even though we didn't spend it, we were putting it into a reserve, so to speak. Is that part of that 400,000?
No.
That's in addition to.
No, it's in addition to that.
Thank
I
you.
think it was about $95,000, and it went into a reserve. It's so it's sitting there in case we can pretty well expect them to come back and say, you're going to have an increase in 26.
Okay, thank you.
The surplus deficit in the end of year 2023, your deficit was $370,000. In 2024, there is some funding that was provided for that. But I'm also, once I finish off with 2024, any surplus, we need to clear up this deficit, because you really should not be carrying a deficit.
So this is in addition to the deficit from 2022, where we had 270 paying off 90,000 a year.
Yeah, this has just been carried forward. So there was 370,000. There's a portion of it being paid in 24. If there's a surplus in 24, the rest of it should be paid. The June 30th account balance looks, the account balance of June 30th was $981,000. We haven't yet paid the county or the school board of $884,000, and we need to get that paid. But again, I'm still waiting for BMO at least to cover us in case we go have a shortfall. Plus, we owe the OPP an extra 184,000. So if we ended up paying all those items, we would have been in $87,000 deficit at the end of June. Because of this, so we have $1 million in an investment. It's through one investment. It's with the province. I don't think you should be having an investment over here when you can't pay your bills. So, and rather than trying to go into a line of credit, if we need to go into a line of credit, we need to call back some of that money from that investment. There is no penalty on canceling that or taking some funds out of that. I've already talked to them about it. And it takes apparently 3 business days or 3 working days to get that money over. We were prepared to do that. We were going to do that. I just kept holding off to see where we were going to be at, but we need to pay our bills and we're going to need to call back some of that funding.
And if I may, in discussions with you and the CAO, the reason why we find ourselves in this situation too is because our big tax increase and everything it doesn't reflect until our last tax bills. And the way we've set it up, we should be actually recovering those taxes a little bit sooner in the cycle. Right now, you were surprised that we're collecting them later. So that's why when we get that money, we can top those things back up.
Yes.
Okay, it's just to help us get to the taxes
Yes.
actually come in and we get to see what we've done to pay off everybody else. But it's just the way it's set up at this time because we cannot implement the tax increase on the first tax bill.
Exactly. And that's another thing too that Ron and I were going to bring forward is to amend how you collect the taxes. Currently there's 2, I get this wrong here, but the second billing happens in July, but the last payment doesn't come in until November 30th. Like that's kind of crazy. Sorry, but you need to bring that forward a bit because I haven't personally seen a municipality that waits that long to collect their taxes. And if people are concerned, though, they can go on to those pre-authorized payments and pay it monthly, not have to pay, any sooner. But so I think that we're going to bring something forward to trying to change the timing a bit to help the cash flow situation. So outstanding property taxes receivable. I just took a quick look at that to see where you were standing. So the province has their measures of risk and anything like for taxes, property taxes receivable, anything below 10% is considered low risk. And at the end of 23, you were at low risk, 9.15%. But it looks like in 2024, like I haven't finished the statements yet or the year end yet, but it looks like you're going to go to 12.57% in property tax, which brings you into a moderate risk. And they end up notifying you when that happens. I know in my previous life, our taxes receivable were over 10%, and we kept getting these notices at the end of the year. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And finally, we were collecting them quicker, but we had to make a dedicated effort to start calling and collecting these taxes. And I don't think you do that right now, that you actually call people to collect the taxes. And I think it's something that you should be doing.
Good, thank you.
And then finally, there's still some items outstanding. I got to get 2024 year end done, and the bank reconciliations, they actually haven't been done since November of 2024. I guess there was difficulty understanding the explanation of how to do them. It is a very complicated process, the way it's set up. It's all done in Excel and there's multiple spreadsheets and I have trouble even understanding it myself. So it's not anybody's fault here but I think going forward though, we should be implementing, our general ledger system is Assist. It has a cash control module, which has a bank reconciliation feature in it. And I recommend that we purchase the module and start using it instead of using all these Excel spreadsheets. And because essentially what you're doing in Excel is everything that's in Assist, like the taxes, the water, everything that's in you're retyping it into Excel, which is
Yeah.
a waste of time. But there's going to be a lot of work required to get these bank recs back up to date. But it's really important because if they're not done, we're not recording the loan payments. We're not recording grant revenue received. Those are the items that come in through the bank that aren't going through our general ledger. So we're missing a lot of information, which is why I didn't bring you the June 30th actuals, because we need to, we need to.
Just, do you have any idea roughly?
So I haven't heard back. I asked them to give me a quote on the,
Is it something that if you implemented it now, would it help with the reconciliation of the 2024?
no, for 2024, there's only December and it's almost reconciled. And I, I'm gonna do whatever I need to do because we got to close 24, right? And whether there's a little bit of something outstanding in 24, it's going to have to be, be as it is, and we'll go forward. But I want to start, I'm hoping to start like January 1, 2025, get this module, do all these bank recs.
Date. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I just, also for clarification too, thank you very much. I mean, you're bringing forward all of this. We used to have a CAO treasurer, and we moved away from that. We now have a CAO and a treasurer, and so then when our CAO treasurer left, we didn't really have a treasurer. And we were able to bring in a CAO temporarily and then until we filled our position. But we didn't have any access to a treasurer until we were able to get our hands onto Cindy here. And anyway, so I'm grateful for you bringing us forward the way that you have and trying to get us back on track. And what you're proposing is definitely going to move us in that direction. Now I want to go back to, I interjected. Is there anything else that you needed to share?
No, I don't think so. I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Councillor Valiquette.
Question, and somebody at the table may know, but where does that $1 million come from that's invested with the province?
It's the bag tag reserve, or the money that's supposed to be used for your landfill sites.
Right.
It's part of a reserve, but normally reserves are also all kept in one bank account because they help cash flow situations. They're not like it just because it's called a reserve doesn't mean it's kept over here separate from the bank. In this case, I don't know why. Maybe just to try and earn some interest, pulled that $1 million, it wasn't million then, and put it into a one investment. The thing that's good about one investment is that you can bring it back without any penalty as quickly, within 3 days, which may be why she did that. But it is a reserve, but it doesn't mean we're using reserve funds. I know it sounds very.
Like you said, though, we're using reserve funds as a temporary measure until the funds actually come back to us that we tax for the municipality.
Yes.
Once it comes back, it's all tapped up and we got
Yes.
lots to work with after that.
Yes, but I guess what I'm saying is we're not debiting and crediting and bringing the reserve down. The reserve is still sitting there. We're bringing some money over. We're temporarily using it to finance what we need to finance. At the end of the year, we get our tax money. That reserve doesn't deplete because of what we've done.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, Councillor Fleur.
Your worship, I pretty depressed and disappointed, to tell you the honest truth. We, as the treasurer has said, we need to account for every nickel that comes in, every nickel that goes out. I can't understand how our auditors haven't made notification that we need to do things, complete things and do things differently. And as far as the reserve that we have for the bag tag, if I've said many times that if we need to borrow money, we need to pay the interest on that money. It goes back into our pocket. It only makes sense.
I think, but Cindy
Yep.
has indicated. that we have
I
to
read
pay
that
interest,
in the
and we do.
document that you provided. And very well done. I myself, I don't know how you, as a retired person, would come here and go through all the stuff that you have gone through. My God, my heart just pounds when I think of what you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I hope we can get out of this mess. And the other,
No, we're not in a mess.
well,
Okay.
well,
No, what we're in a situation that, in a period of recovery from things that weren't done. We're not in a mess.
okay,
And she's got us going in the right direction.
exactly. And I appreciate that. And one more thing. And I don't like to pound this thing and pound it, but I'm positive that we're in this position because we haven't had any help from the province. And you've stated that so many times. I don't know how we can be denied and denied and denied. And as I've said before, we had a process where we shared a third. It worked so good. We never owed anybody a nickel. We got 21 capital projects done. Never owed a nickel. It was always there. We had the next reserves. Now we have to jack the taxes up and the residents have to pay a penalty because the government won't help us. Is that fair? Anyway.
No, thank you. Yes, CEO Diskey.
Through you, Chair. I just wanted to thank Cindy, as Councillor Fleeler did. Cindy has been amazing to help us get through the gap that we had. But on another note, I just wanted to compliment the staff, the team, the council. I came from a larger municipality where funds seem to be free flowing all the time. This has been an experience for me to come here and to see how we stretch it all, or we're physically responsible with everything, and how staff wear many hats. And I will speak to that in one of my upcoming reports, but I just had to emphasize that we are very physically responsible here, and that every dollar is accounted for, and that staff are doing an amazing job. So I just want to thank them for the support. And again, thanks Cindy for helping us walk through this process we're doing right now. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just going to go back to something that you said when we met with MPP Brise just recently. And then I'm just going to introduce it, and then I'm going to let you say what you said. I have commented numerous times that Premier Ford has said, you municipal councils, all you're doing is tax grab. Get your hand out of the taxpayers' pockets. Lower taxes like we have. Share what you shared at that meeting.
Through the chair, I spoke to MP Brise about that comment, and I told him that I agreed with Premier Ford with respect to my past experiences and seeing what I've seen in larger municipalities around the GTA. But that comment does not apply to rural communities. Budgets are tight. There are no big political ambitions or politics happening in the lower municipalities or the smaller rural municipalities. There is no excess waste to be saved here in these municipalities.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? Cindy has got a number of bylaws for us to approve later on, addressing some of the things that she's mentioned. Again, I can't thank you enough. You are a municipal treasurer, which is great because that is your specialty, and that's why we're benefiting from that knowledge of yours now. But we are moving in the right direction. We are in good stead, although we do need major support from the province to help us with future infrastructure projects. We cannot continue to borrow, and yet we have no alternative but to do so. Any other questions? Yes, please go ahead, Councillor Velica.
Just very quickly through the mayor to the treasurer. So if we do end up with a surplus at the end of the year, that needs to go into some sort of reserve. It doesn't have to be specific though, right? It can be like a general reserve.
Correct. If we do have a surplus and we've covered all of our deficits, you can do with that what you wish. It's, what choose the reserve to put it into, if it's infrastructure or that.
Could we use it to pay off that deficit that we had in 2023?
So so that 23 at 370,000, that's my intention. Like currently, when I looked at 24, it looked like there might be for around $400,000 surplus. But remember, I still haven't finished everything.
Yeah.
If there's a $400,000 surplus and we still owe 200,000 on that deficit, we're going to clear up that deficit first. And then if there's a surplus and you put it into the reserve that you want to put it into, or you can use that again as money for, 2026 kind of
Okay.
thing, right?
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
Okay, so was there, oh yes, I gotta do a. So be it resolved, the council received this report as information that council approved bylaws. Well, we will be approving bylaws when they come up. There will be bylaws 2025-68, 2025-69, and 2025-40 revised, and 2025-70. They will come up later, we'll raise them, and then we'll approve them at that time. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, yes, can we have a short 5-minute break?
Yeah.
While we're doing that, I'll just leave that on for a minute. Lucas, I just wanted to make a comment. I'm sorry to all of the people who are waiting here all this time. Because we have, our agenda is always fixed and I cannot move it because if somebody saw our agenda and they wanted to be here for this discussion and I moved it up and they came in at the time they thought it was, then they would be upset. So I'm sorry for making everybody wait here. That's the way the process works. Okay, 5-minute break. Anybody? Washrooms, please help yourselves. Okay, thank you. Sorry for that delay. Could I have a move and a seconder to table the Chief Administrative Office update of August 12th? Thank you, Councilor Bellicat. Thank you, Deputy Mayor LaMarche. Over to you, Ron.
Thank you. And through the chair, just a quick update. Staff have submitted an initial survey, or its initial step for the Municipal Ice Storm Assistant Program grant. So we have been able to come up with costs for labor, equipment, about I think it was $42,400. So that has been the first step has started, and we will be submitting a second application in October of this year for that. And then also, as you mentioned earlier, I won't go into detail, but Trevor Prevost, Public Works Supervisor, just wanted to recognize him for his exceptional customer service this past month or last month with respect to assisting a storefront owner on Victoria Street with some of his water and sewer issues. So I've already thanked Trevor personally in front of his peers last week, and he's very grateful for the recognition. Thank you.
I also want to mention that CIO Diskey and our treasurer Cindy have also been looking at our asset management plan and looking under the new guidelines that the province has asked us to identify how we're going to pay for all this stuff. CIO Diskey and I had some insights from MPP Brise, and so we're going to work with you, Cindy, and sharing that. I know you're working on this now, and you've got that on your plate. But maybe Ron already has shared with you what we heard from MPP Brise. But anyway, we will try to get that done as the next thing after you finish all this other stuff. Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments? Seeing none. Be it resolved that council receive the Chief Administration Officer update report as presented. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, could I have a move and a seconder to table the automated speed enforcement update? Councillor Fleeler, thank you. Deputy Mayor LaMarche, over to you, Ron.
Thank you. And again, through the chair, the purpose of the report was to respond to the motion dated July 15th to investigate and report back on automated speed enforcement options. So this is an interesting process and project that we can undertake. The report basically just gives some costs and different options for us if we were to implement. At the end of this report, it indicates that I will report back again. This is just the initial step. We will report back before the end of 2024 or in the fourth quarter. Obviously, through the different options here, we would have to register with the MTO program. All penalties go through a processing center. There are different ones around the province. Usually the biggest one is City of Toronto right now. I spoke to a gentleman there yesterday about different options there. Then there's, of course, the equipment that is required or the infrastructure that is required for such a program. The best option is to install portable cameras. They seem to be the cheapest. There are rental rates for the equipment. From what I understand, there was an Ontario Consortium RFP that went forward, and the different rates are in the report, starting with a daily rate of $94.61 per camera. Of course, there's other costs as well if we want to move them around. The average price of a ticket is about $100, and that usually covers the cost of the rental. We would have to issue 438 tickets per camera to break even, or to cover the costs of the infrastructure equipment that we need. We are right now currently have a piece of equipment up in the town or in the village here monitoring some traffic numbers, and this equipment is allowing us to get numbers, to get average speeds for the day. So we're going to move this camera around and report back on the feasibility of the number of different options that we have. The number Victoria Street northbound traffic, Victoria Street southbound traffic, River Street West, and Hungerford Road. So, and again, I need to emphasize that these speed cameras can only be placed in community safety zones. Okay, and that usually is a zone that has one of a number of different pieces of infrastructure, either a park, a playground, a school zone, along character and facility. So areas where we have vulnerable individuals that may be crossing the road. So that's the report. I'd be pleased to take any questions. Like I said, this is a complex process. There's a lot of moving parts to it, and we have to make sure we do our due diligence before we bring something like this forward. So I will be following up with a second report, possibly in October. I'm hoping to get it to you sooner than later.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Any questions? I know you sat in on those meetings, Councillor Leeler.
Yes, I did, Your Worship.
And I'd like to also, if we could, talk to Brantford, I think it is. They have a system in place where they do all the administrative work and all this kind of thing. I don't know if Deputy Mayor Demarche has I didn't get the guy's ticket or his card. Brantford
From Brant.
is Brampton?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, through the chair, Brampton does have its own processing center, as well as City of Toronto and a few other places. I think Newmarket has one as well. So there's a number of different processing centers that we can reach out to.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Thank you for the report. Be it resolved, the council received the automated speed enforcement update report for information. And further, the council directs staff to continue to investigate the implementation of the ASE in the municipality of Tweed by collecting traffic data and locations that may be suitable for this enforcement tool and report back to council in October. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the the Public Works Manager's Department update? Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Demarche. Any questions on Ryan's report? Is there anything in particular you would like to say, Ryan, or we're good to go? Okay, thank you. Oh, yes, go ahead, Councillor Fleeler.
Your Worship, to the,
Manager of roads, could we be notified when the tender is up for the sand? I'd like to sit in on that.
Through the chair to Councillor Fleeler, it's already posted and been posted, so it will close on the 21st. And once we get some numbers, we'll bring it to council and get your blessing to go
So
ahead.
could we come to the tender opening then? I think we can, but
Through the chair, I'd have to explore that to see if there's any issues with something like that. Top of my head, I don't see why there would be.
I think we've been invited in the past, or other councils that I've been on, we've been invited if you want to. You're just sitting there, you can't make any comments, you're just sitting there listening.
yeah,
That's fine. Okay,
okay. Thank you.
thank you. Be it resolved that council accept the department update August 12, 2025 as presented. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a move and a seconder to table the community development update, please? Thank you, Councillor Fleeler. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Let's see if I had any questions here. First of all, I want to thank Cindy for all that she's been doing in keeping us afloat here. I see that Taste of Tweed tickets are now available as well. So I'm hoping everybody will come and participate in that event. You will notice that we're going to be at the Ottawa Capital Pride event, and that is because of that money that I just referred to, that FedDev inclusion and cultural diversity funding that we receive for them for tourism to promote our municipality. And that's also part of this Grapevine magazine that we're doing for the municipality as well. All that funding is not coming from the municipality of Tweed taxpayers. It's coming from federal funds and a successful grant application. Any questions? Seeing none. Be it resolved that council receive the community development update as presented. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the fire chief's department update? Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Demarche, and thank you, Councillor Leeler. Jeez. Okay, over to you, Derek.
Yeah, excuse me, through the chair. Yeah, just to kind of a update on things there. We've did with the dry conditions and stuff, had a lot of concern with the fire and up in the Coal Hill area there that coming our way, whatever. But we do have, like you noticed from the M&R, we do deal with the M&R quite every day, basically, they send us a report on what's going on kind of thing. And the fire up in the Cohill area there has been water bombed. It is surrounded now with hose, whatever. It's a holding right now. That means it's not moving any farther. They've got hand crews on the ground now with it. And they're keeping a good eye on it. That is an M&R fire, so they are looking after the whole thing. They haven't asked for any assistance from any of the local fire departments yet on that. So it's basically it's holding right now, and hopefully, like I said, it's deep with the underbrush and stuff but they are working with that, and wind conditions and stuff do affect kind of the thing. But right now they've got the water bombers and stuff on, and it is holding. So if anybody was concerned with that,
Any idea how it started?
they probably lightning they're figuring or whatever. That was what we hear, but I don't know. It's hard to, I mean, with the little storms, it's hard to, that's what they're thinking right now, but that they don't know, I don't think, really, with what's going on. So
Was there rain here in the last couple of days?
no, up there, I mean, I think it's just a flash, like they're having like this little flash storms or whatever, like it's here and there or whatever, but that's basically what they've kind of set out right now until they do some investigation on it. I'm sure they'll be able to see from if there's a tree hit or something like that was up higher or whatever, but because it's being with the different kinds of forests and stuff that ever being a lot of concerns with our deciduous forest, and it is in a hardwood bush, so it doesn't travel quite as fast as it does like with some of our deciduous and stuff where you get into our coniferous stuff where the coniferous trees, they tend to go up. And I can just recommend anybody that does in their property and stuff and concerned or whatever is look at the online and stuff at the Fire Smart program and stuff for the laddering and stuff on trees or whatever, and that to keep your trees trimmed underneath if they are close to your house, your spruce trees and stuff like that, and pine trees, to keep them up because they do catch on fire quicker than what your maple and that type of stuff. So yeah, just right now, like I said, we do have a full burn ban on all across Hastings County. And like I said, we do work with the M&R. I said, like, we had to get a few drops this morning, but that was to drop some dust off. We could use a lot more of it and hope for that to come or whatever down the day. But yeah, no, just the only thing update on that I have for that. And like I said, we've been doing a lot with the kids this summer camps and having a lot of fun with the kids going and doing some fire prevention presentations to the kids' day camps and stuff. We've been to a bunch there in Queensboro and in Tweed, and we've had visits to the fire hall from the kids and stuff. So it's been really good, and they're great. And I'm sorry to the parents and stuff when they come home and test their smoke alarms and stuff or whatever. But they're very adamant about it, and they're very they're the best to do the fire prevention for us to get out and check the homes and stuff. So it's great. So appreciate that. But anyway, so thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, be it resolved that council receive the fire department update as presented. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the bylaw enforcement April 2025 log report, statement of revenue expenditures as of April 30th, 2025, May 2025 bylaw log report and statement of revenue and expenditures as of May 31st, 2025, and June 2025 log report, as well as expenditures for that same period. Just a mover and a seconder to get that on the table. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Thank you, Councillor Fleeler. Any questions on that report? I was just wondering why there's all three of them like at this. Why are they not coming like regularly like everybody else, if I may?
Probably because of the changeover in staff in Sterling.
Okay, got you. Thank you. Okay. No questions? Okay, be it resolved that council receive the April, May, June, and 2025 Tweed bylaw operations logs presented. All in favor? Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the July 2025 Animal Control and Livestock Investigation Report? Thank you, Deputy Mayor LaMarche. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Any questions on said report? Seeing none, be it resolved the council receive the July 2025 Animal Control and Livestock Investigation Report as presented. All in favor? Thank you. Policy review. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the update on our human resource policies, please? Mover and second. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Thank you, Councillor Fleeler. Any questions on this? I'll turn it over to Ron. Any questions of Ron? Okay, Ron, if you want to just walk us through.
Thank you, and through the chair. I just want to start off by saying this report, it was a joy to write, just because I've come to know the staff here. And trust me when I say this staff team is second to none. I have worked with a number of colleagues over the years, and they have left to move on to other organizations. And when we get to those organizations, either the staff team isn't, up to par or in work or development. But I can truly say, coming to this organization, that this team is second to none. And I am just in awe of how everybody wears multiple hats or does has multiple responsibilities. When I look at Lucas, who is our planning guy, our IT guy, our deputy clerk guy, he is invaluable, just like the rest of the team. And then the volume of work that they're able to generate. The team here at City Hall, I believe, is 9 people, 10 including myself. So what I've come to notice is that we don't have a lot of what I'll call family leave or personal leave or sick time. And what I've noticed is that people are, when sick, coming to work sick because they either can't afford to take time off without pay just because of financial pressures, and as a result, this may bring sickness or a virus or a bacteria into the workplace that will infiltrate through the whole team. And when you have such a small team wearing multiple hats, it can be devastating to the work group. So this report addresses a number of HR policies that I wanted to take a look at. This will have no material impact to the budget, so there's no extra cost to the taxpayer or pressures on our budget. So starting with hours of work, the admin staff make an adjustment to those hours. Also allowing the admin staff to have the ability to do some flex time. And this is not similar to what is currently in place with the works team. So allowing them to work longer hours, to take a few hours off through the pay period to help them assist with their work-life balance. The Public Works team and the recreation staff team, Public Works right now, they have a flexible work week, which allows them to have Friday afternoons off. I've asked that staff being hired after today's date, when this policy should take effect, will get every other Friday off instead of every Friday afternoon off. This will allow for staff to be available coming in the future on Friday afternoons for us to assist with service requests or service requirements. I've also made this option available to the existing staff. As I mentioned, this will be coming to effect for any staff hired after August 12th. I didn't want to disrupt the current staff's routine or force anything on them that is something that they don't agree with. But from a voluntary perspective, they are allowed to adapt this flexible work schedule as well. The park staff has the same option. Their hours are slightly different because in the winter time or during the months that the arena is operating, their hours of work are totally different. With respect to the family responsibility leave and the personal leave, I want to increase that from 3 days to 9 days, allowing them to be able to take time off when required and to allow them to recover at home rather than bringing sickness or viruses into the workplace. And I think that's all. The only other thing that needs to be mentioned is for work staff hired after August 12th today, they will have a requirement, if required, to work an evening shift in the months of November, December, January, February, March. So this is primarily for winter operations, winter snow removal. And again, as I did go out and I spoke to all the staff involved and making sure that they're aware of it. I spoke to them after the report went public so that they were aware of it and they can have access to it and read it if they wish. But I didn't have any negative comments from the staff when I presented these changes. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, CEO Diskey? Thank you very much. I'm glad that we're investing some time into our policies as they relate to our staff, because we are very grateful for everybody and all their multiple hats. I know Lucas is now going to come forward and say he wants to be paid for 3 people, now that you've made that quite clear. But anyway, it's a great team, and I want to keep everybody we got. And so, and what you're proposing are things that are commonplace in other places where I have worked in my career. So thank you for bringing that forward to this council. Be it resolved that council receive the updates to human resource policies, and further that council approve all recommendations included in this report, and that staff make appropriate changes to the associated bylaws to be brought forward to a future council meeting. All in favor? Thank you. Sorry. Scratchy vote here. Could I have a move and a seconder to bring forward zoning amendment public meeting 7A14/25? I think that's this. Yeah, thank you, Deputy Mayor DeMarsh, and thank you, Councillor Valley-Cat. Okay, before we begin discussing this, I would like.
I'll just make clear, I just see you
Yeah,
grab that there.
this is not.
No, so
I was going to say that.
Just to the chair, I guess, the public meeting has already been held. You are free to open the floor if you wish, but you're under no obligation to.
No, I think what we've, well, first of all, what I wanted to say is I wanted to thank everybody who's come forward, the proponents of the project, those that have some concerns with the project. I'm glad that this was all tabled at a public meeting, which was hosted by our planning committee, and everybody had an opportunity to speak. And then since then, I think there was a notice put out that if anybody wanted to add further the conversation, to please submit letters by August 5th. And we have those letters in here, and they're under correspondence for anybody that's looking at this under the zoning amendment that we're going to be talking about. And so, I'm very, very grateful. And I see that planning committee has recommended that this falls within the guidelines. It's been approved basically by county. Quinte Conservation has approved it as well. I know that there is a holding on this due to a hydrology study. I think that's what we're all waiting on right now. I want to open the floor to council. If council has any questions that we can direct. I believe, is your planner, are they still on there, or? I think they were on there too. If council had any questions of the planner.
Dale is online.
Okay, so if any council had any questions or anything, at this point, I'm turning it over to council. Okay. Okay, it was very well written, very well done. I'm grateful for all of the correspondence that's coming into us. If there's no, yes, please go ahead.
I'll just note from a clerk's perspective here, if anyone online or is watching and looking to access the additional comments, they are available at the HTML link. It appears they're not there on the PDF link, but they are available on the HTML link if anyone's looking for those.
I think Lori updated the file with all of the
That's
comments on the
right.
PDF.
Yeah, and we can update that PDF file, I believe, after we're out of.
Oh, I
But we
see.
can't do it live.
Oh, okay.
So they are there, but you have to access the HTML
Gotcha.
link
Okay.
if anyone on the public online is looking for those.
Any questions, comments? Seeing none. Well, I am going to support this. This is an agricultural community. I fully believe in supporting our businesses in agriculture. That is my position. I don't see anybody objecting. So be it resolved that council receive the zoning amendment public meeting report as presented, and further the council directs staff to bring forward a bylaw for zoning amendment ZA 14/25 at the next regular council meeting, and it's subject to the holding. That's the only subject on this property at this time, the holding.
Yeah, so to all of council, through the chair, nothing will move forward on the actual use of the land until a hydrogeological study is submitted to the municipality. We'll review that for the need for a peer review if that's required, and then bring forward those documentations to council. So there will be another meeting where that holding would be lifted at.
Okay.
I don't have delegated authority to do that, and I don't want that. So that will be at a future public meeting when council will pass a bylaw, obviously to put the holding in place, which will be in September. But in the future, there will be a meeting to lift the holding that's subject to the Hydro G.
And then everybody will have access to that study.
So that Hydro G holding lifting will be advertised in a local paper. Usually we advertise holding liftings in the Tweed News. It'll also be obviously on our public agenda on a council meeting. I don't know exactly when that date will be because there's some factors that go into the review. But there will be an advertisement, at least in the Tweed News, that there'll be a holding symbol lifted at some point for a property at 17 Countryman Road. If council approves the zoning bylaw amendment, if it gets to the holding stage and we get to that sort of process.
So we're just agreeing to move on to the next phase, basically, at this time with that holding. Great, thank you. Any questions from council? Yes, please.
Your worship, there are some concerns on both sides. I just hope that we can resolve some of these issues. I don't. Another concern I have is that our salt storage is up on top of the hill there. Are we gonna have to move that? Or not our salt storage, but our sand, our snow dump?
Why would we have to remove it?
Well, because of the salt, would that affect the well?
Stay quick. I know in City of Belleville, I worked there, you cannot dump. I've been gracious, I haven't said anything about it. But you cannot have a snow dump. It has to be a licensed snow dump. And if you get into that, you'll have to get the whole.
Okay, I'm gonna ask, this is a good point. I'm gonna ask you to follow up on this later. Okay, to talk about that, okay? And so now you've
Yeah.
opened up another.
Well,
Just in
well,
case.
it's a concern, like, I mean, salt will contaminate a well. I don't know if.
Well, if it's gonna contaminate that, well, it's gonna contaminate all the water, the
Exactly.
whole thing, so.
Exactly.
I think what we've done is we're giving the approval to proceed here and subject to the hydrology study. But now there is another thing that we need to look into as a result of this. And so I'm going to ask Ryan to set up a meeting with Ron, okay, to look into this other as well. Okay, thank you very much for bringing that to my attention.
Which is separate.
Which is separate from this, it has
Yes.
nothing to do with this, but it's something we need to look into. Okay, be it resolved that council receive the zoning amendment, public meeting report as presented, and further the council directs staff to bring forward a bylaw for zoning amendment ZA 1425 at the next regular council meeting, subject to the hydrological study and the location of the snow dump at the adjoining property. Nothing to do with your application, something else we have to look into now. Okay, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, the correspondence is all there. I hope everybody had a chance to look at it. Multiple letters. Building inspection, can I have a mover and a seconder to table the May 2025 building permits report, statement of revenue and expenditures as of May 13th, 2025. Mover and a seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Demarche. Any questions on the BISB report? Okay, again, it's nice to see that, like, you know, we are doing quite well with regards to single family homes and building permits and stuff. So this is good for the municipality of Tweed. Bylaws. Okay, there's a whack of bylaws here. Now, I don't, you guys can go, you don't have to wake all this stuff. I mean, I'm going to say,
It's just really like asking if you could be emailed about that
Oh.
like story. Some of us don't get newspapers.
I think yes, I think anybody who's sent in a,
I'll maybe if a council wishes, instead of giving notice in a local paper, we could circulate to the circulatory list for notice of the holding removal in addition to that, but that would be something that council would have to
I have no problem.
give staff direction on that.
No problem. So yes, so we'll post it in the paper, plus we'll let everybody who's been in touch with us get a notice on that, as long as you have their email.
That's the 400
That's it.
feet buffer.
Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. Sorry that you had to wait all that time.
Yeah.
Okay, there's so many bylaws here, so we'll try to get through them as fast as we can. Yes, please do. Okay, want to go back to that? So that is, did you go ahead and add it, Lori, and then I'll read it one more time.
Okay, I'll just add something.
Okay, you're okay with that? Okay. Okay, moving on. The first one is, could I have movement and seconder to table bylaw number 2025-68? You do not have to stay, Derek, if you want to go. Okay, and
Vote on the last one, you didn't actually hear. On the building inspection services.
oh,
Just did
okay.
say here.
Okay, be it resolved that council receive the Building Inspection Services Board, be it, all in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover, a seconder to table bylaw number 2025-68? A bylaw to authorize the submission of an application to Ontario Infrastructure and Lands Corporation, OILC, for financing certain ongoing capital projects for the municipality of Tweed. Mover and a seconder. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Marsh. Thank you, Councillor Fleeler. Any questions on said bylaw? Seeing none. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-68 to authorize the submission of an application to Ontario Infrastructure and Lands Corporation, OILC, for financing certain ongoing capital works be ready first, second, third, and final time, passed, signed, and sealed in open council this 12th day of August 2025. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table bylaw number 2025-69? A bylaw to approve the submission of an application to an Ontario Infrastructure and Lands Corporation, OILC, for the long-term financing of certain capital works of the municipality of Tweed. Move in a second. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Thank you, Councillor Fleeler. Any questions on said bylaw? Be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-69 to approve the submission of an application to Ontario Infrastructure and Lands Corporation, OILC, for the long-term financing of certain capital works of the municipality of Tweed be read a first, second, third, and final time, passed, signed, and sealed in open council this 12th day of August 2025. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table bylaw number 2025-70? A bylaw to adopt a revised debt management policy for the municipality of Tweed and to repeal bylaw number 22-50. Could I have a movement and a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Marsh. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-70 to adopt a revised debt management policy for the municipality of Tweed and to repeal bylaw 2022-50 be read a first, second, and third and final time, passed, signed, and sealed in open council this 12th day of August 2025. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table bylaw number 2025-71? A bylaw to adopt a revised salt management plan for the municipality to repeal bylaw number 2023-23. A mover and a seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Marsh. Any questions on said bylaw? Seeing none, be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-71 to adopt a revised salt management plan for the municipality of Tweed and to repeal bylaw 2022-23 be read a first, second, and third and final time, passed, signed, and sealed in open council this 12th day of August 2025. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table bylaw number 2025-72, a bylaw to amend bylaw number 2023-25, being a bylaw to establish a wage scale for municipal staff positions and to establish council employee wages, benefits, and vacation leave for the year 2023, 2024, 25, and 2026. A mover and a seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Marsh. Any questions on said bylaw? Yes, please.
Your worship, I just wonder what the pay equity would have.
That will come later, yeah.
But should we do anything until we get that pay equity thing done? I don't know.
The pay equity.
This particular one is just about the vacation information. So it doesn't have anything to do with the grid or pay
Okay.
equity at this
All
point.
right, thank you.
Any further questions? Be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-72 to amend bylaw number 2023-25 regarding vacation requirements be read a first, second, third, and final time, passed, signed, and sealed in open council this 12th day of August 2025. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table bylaw number 2025-73? A bylaw to authorize the erection of signs at intersections within the municipality of Tweed, River Street, and College Street. Now, we did get a letter just recently. That's the stop sign. Yes, that was. Yeah. Did we want to take that into account before we? Like, I don't know.
Passed it.
Hmm?
You just passed it. The bylaw, correct?
No, this is the bylaw
Oh,
right
there's the
now.
bylaw here.
I'm doing the bylaw right now.
We brought the motion forward.
It was a motion.
Right.
I'm looking for council.
I mean, we got one comment, I think they didn't disagree in the letter that the traffic needs to slow down. They just had concerns about noise and trucks going slowing up and so stopping and. But I think you have to take the lesser of two evils. Do you wait for somebody to get killed or do you take a chance with the noise? And I think we should need to slow the traffic down.
But I think the other thing that he was pointing out, that if we're gonna get these speed cameras, if we put the speed camera there, like in one of these zones. Anyway, I'm sorry. Ron, what is your take on this? Sorry.
Through the chair, I just need to understand the question better.
Okay, we just received, as a result of this discussion at the last council meeting and approval to proceed with this, we received a letter to all of us. I'm not sure if maybe you didn't get it actually, about not putting in stop signs there. And there was a whole list of reasons as to why not. Okay, there was like people coming over the hill, which I think was raised before by somebody here. People stopping and then zooming through. I think noise, like, you know, as people always braking and whatnot. There was a number of things. It was quite lengthy, the letter that we received. Now, I don't want to say stop because somebody said anything, but I just don't know if we've ever done a consultation, like, you know, on these things before we do them. Anyway, over to you.
Through the chair, I think the stop sign in that particular spot is fine for now. We can continue to monitor it and see if there's any issues with it, but I think it's a viable option for replacing that stop, the crossing.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Valiquette.
I have spoken to pedestrians who use that often, and they're looking forward to a stop sign.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Mayor Marsh.
And we've engaged in discussions with ASEs, cameras. But we don't know if we're even gonna go that way.
No.
So in the meantime, we have to protect their residents. I feel.
Okay, good discussion. Thank you. I just wanted to table it. Yes, Councillor Flaylor.
And your worship, the other option we have is to replace the crosswalk at how much money? I don't know. I mean, safety is number one.
We did table a tentative cost for that at our last.
$15,000 deductible, so. Wasn't it? Somewhere in there? So.
Okay, so no, that's good. I just wanted to get it out there. I'm glad we had good discussion. Thank you. Be it resolved. Oh, can I get a move in a second to get that on the table, please? Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Thank you, Councillor Flaylor. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-73 to authorize the erection of stop signs at the intersection of River Street West and College Street in the municipality of Tweed be read a first, second, and third and final time. Passed, signed, and sealed in open council this 12th day of August 2025. All in favor? Did I have a move in a second to table bylaw number 2025-74? A bylaw to convey certain property on Cars Road for road widening purposes. Move in a second, please. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Marsh. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Any questions on said bylaw? Seeing none, be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-74 to convey certain property on Cars Road for road widening purposes be read a first, second, third, and final time. Passed, signed, and sealed in open council this 12th day of August 2025. All in favor? Thank you. Did I have a move and a second to table bylaw number 2025-75? A bylaw to amend bylaw 2025-40, adopting a budget of sums required for the municipality of Tweed for the year 2025. Move in a second, please. Councillor Flaylor, thank you, and Councillor Valiquette. Any questions on said bylaw? Be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-75, amending bylaw 2025-40, adopting a budget of all sums required for the municipality of Tweed for the year 2025 be read a first, second, third, and final time. Passed, signed, and sealed in open council this 12th day of August 2025. All in favor? Thank you. Items for consideration. Could I have a move and a second at the table? Road allowance closing public meeting, Retreat Road. Council's description is council's declared that the portion of municipal road allowance located between concession lots 48 to 52, part lots 53 to 54, and 74 to 79, and RP 21R-15190, parts 3 to 6, and concession 4 parts lot 1 up to lot 25, to lot 1, lot 25 to 32.
Pardon?
Got Elsevier as presented in the application submitted by Bill Slaney. Surplus lands and available for sale at their June 10th, 2025 regular meeting. Could I have a move and a seconder for that, please? Thank you, Councilor Valiquette. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Marsh. Okay, here we go again. Be it resolved that council authorize staff to bring forward a bylaw to stop up, close, and convey the portion of municipal road allowance located between concession 4 lots 48 to 52, part lots 53, 54, and 74 to 79, and RP 21R-15190, parts 3 to 6, concession 4, part 1, lot 1, lot 25 to 32, Elsevier as presented in the application submitted by Bill Slaney. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table Jason and Anna Engeram request for agreement to allow a trailer to be used as a temporary residence on 155 Esseltine Road while construction of a door. Moving to seconder, please. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Marsh. Thank you, Councillor Flailer. Any questions on said request? Yes, please go ahead.
I think in the past, we've always had a time limit on these. I think there was a time limit. We always put like 6 months or a year or something.
Lucas?
Yeah, through the chair to the deputy mayor, it's 1 year, which is in line with the building permit generally.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, be it resolved that council authorize the mayor and CAO to execute an agreement with Jason and Anna Engeram, the owners of 155 Esseltine Road, to permit a trailer to be used as a temporary residence on 155 Esseltine Road during construction of a dwelling. In accordance, do we have to say in accordance with or just leave it like that? We're okay? Okay. All in favor? Excuse me. Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the Together Through Pain? The Together Through Pain is hosting a community fundraiser, Think for a Cause trivia night and dinner on September 20th, 2025. For this event, they request to be identified as a municipal significant event in order to satisfy the conditions of the Alcohol Gaming Commission of Ontario in order to obtain an SOP. Can I have a move and a second to table that, please? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Marsh. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Any questions on that? Seeing none, be it resolved that council designate the Together Through Pain fundraising event, Think for a Cause trivia night and dinner as a municipal significant event as per the requirements of the Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario in order to obtain an SOP for the event. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the request from Sheila Dodd to request for to proclaim September 28th, 2025 as a British Home Child Awareness Day in the municipality of Tweed. A mover and a seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Flailer. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Any questions on that? We've done this every year. Be it resolved that council proclaims September 20th, 2025 as a British Home Child Awareness Day in the municipality of Tweed, and further that the proclamation be promoted in the municipal news column on the municipal website and on social media, and further that the fountain at Tweed Memorial Park be lit that evening in support of the proclamation. All in favor? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's done. I just want to say something. Can I make a motion? We suspend the rules of procedure? I think we'll go past you here.
She's going to do that.
Oh, you gonna do it? Okay.
Yeah, she's going to do it when we get, yeah. Okay, any, sorry, that was okay? Everybody carried that one? Okay, thank you. Correspondence information. Could I have a mover and this? No, sorry. Excuse me. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table correspondence information, please? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Marsh. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Is there anything in there that anybody would like to bring forward? Under requests for support, I have some, but if anybody wants to go first. Yes, please.
I had the one for 1653 Jordan West. That wasn't my one for me.
Okay, I have that one as well. I also have 1652. And 1655. 52, 53, and 55. Okay, 5-2. Okay, could I have a mover and a seconder to table request? This is 5-2, Township of Georgian Bluffs, Owen Sound. Request of support resolutions, Gray Bruce OPP Detachment Board Resolution, appeal to the Ministry of the Solicitor General to review and reform of provincial offenses system. A mover and a seconder to get that on the table. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Marsh. Thank you, Councillor Fleeler. Any questions on that one? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you. Next one was 5-3. Could I get a mover and a seconder to table Township of Georgian Bluffs, Owen Sound, Ontario, request of support resolution, Gray Bruce OPP Detachment Board Resolution, appeal to the Ministry of the Solicitor General for reinstatement of provincial funding. A mover and a second. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Marsh. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Any questions on that resolution? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you. Then 5, City of St. Catharines, request of support resolution, elect respect pledge. And I move in a second to get that on the table, please. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Thank you.
I don't have that one in here.
The last one?
16.5?
1655. The City of St. Catharines?
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Did you get a seconder on that? Can I get a seconder on that? Peter. And Deputy Mayor Marsh, any questions on that? Seeing none, be it resolved. All in favor? Okay, all in favor. Okay, thank you. Anything else there? There was just, wasn't going to do anybody said. There's just a couple of letters that we've sent out. What was the City of Belleville? So there's nothing else there. Okay. So Lori, do we want to announce that we're going to go into this now because we're going to go into closed? Okay, so could I have a move and a seconder to extend the operations of this particular meeting? Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Marsh. Thank you very much, Councillor Valiquette. All in favor? Thank you. And now I will announce that we are going into a closed meeting. Could I have a move and a seconder to move into closed meeting, please? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Marsh. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Be it resolved that council goes into a closed meeting, Lori, at 11:54.
Sorry, I jumped the gun on that.
All in favor? Yeah, no, we already had it planned. Lori's on top of it.